Ayurveda University, Dehradun, with a total teaching experience of 25 years and a total administrative experience as head and principal for again 25 years. May I request all those who are sitting on the back seats, please come forward. You can come forward. There are many seats ahead of you which are lying vacant. Professor Tripathi has published books on medicine, Kaya Chikitsa, Ashtang Sangrah Sutrasthan as a Saral Adhyayan, cardiology in Ayurveda, Ayurvedic Hridrog Vigyan. He has also published many papers to the tune of 88 in number. He is viewer of national and international journals and expert member Public Service Commission, MP, HP, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. So here we have two stalwarts of Ayurveda as chairpersons of this session. As an opening speaker, please have a look at this child. She has lost her mother or the mother has lost the baby. It's both ways. So she's crying. If anybody knows the face of this child, please inform the mother. It's a special request. The girl is dressed in red with a work of some pearls, and she's so very much petrified and panicked that she's not able to tell her name also. Mama aa rahi hai. If anybody knows the face of the child, please help us and assist us to identify and help us hand her over to her mother. I would request all the speakers of this special talks to please, we have a media bay on my left covered in black. So please put your pen drives there so that we can have your talks ready. Our opening speaker is Dr. Vasudevan Nambodri ji. May I call upon Dr. Vasudevan Nambodri ji to come and come on stage and for the deliberations. Dr. Vasudevan Nambodri ji is, he has more than 25 years of post-graduation teaching experience, and he has served as State Program Manager NRHM for 2 years, also served as Principal Amrita School of Ayurveda, Kollam for 7 years. He has guided more than 65 postgraduate thesis works. So here I would not stand tall between you and the esteemed speaker. To you, sir. I would ask the media team to please play the slides.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, distinguished delegates and my dear friends. Today my topic is Madam, tell them to PowerPoint. Cancer in how can we manage cancer? Its hopes and highlights, the relevance of the topic. Relevance of the topic, because you see in India, from Kerala to northern part of India, many people are managing cancer, but reported isolated success of cancer management as management is there. Moreover, absence of but scientifically documentation is not at all done there. Ayurvedic community is not well trained to face this challenge. That is another issue. Then this is a humble effort to frame a treatment strategy by using the available clinical experience and updated knowledge. Actually, you see, diseases are the external manifestations of the internal pathology. One definition is there for the disease. Tattal Lakshana Bodhid Abhyantara Vikriti Parambara Eva Paramarthato Roga. Actually, Lakshanas are no only the signs and symptoms are exhibited, but internal pathology is the foremost thing which we have to manage. See, cancer is a symbol, as most illnesses of something going wrong in the patient's life, a warning to him. We have to take another route. That is another definition. You see, in the Samanya Samprapti, Nidana leads to Dosha Dushti, then Dhatu Dushti. At the time of Lakshanas will come. Then this Dhatu Dushti or Dosha Dushya Samorchana may lead to Dhatu Vikriti, which may be reversible or irreversible. Actually, this irreversible, when the irreversible Dhatu Dushti occurs, that will lead to chronic diseases like motor neuron disease, multiple sclerosis, Parkinsonism, malignancy, etc. Hence, here due to the Dosha Samorchana, irreparable damage to the Dhadus occur. That is why it is irreversible. Arbuda, you see, innumerable, immature, irreversible, purposeless. So cancer is a negative life energy. You see, there are 37 trillion cells in our body. Actually, you see, our skin cells are replaced every 15 days. Our RBCs are replaced every 120 days. Our liver cells are replaced every 6 months, which means that, within 1 second, 2 million RBCs are formed in our body, and around 2 million RBCs are destroyed also. Hence, it is very difficult to manage this programmed cell death. This is called programmed cell death. Hence, Vata is related with the cell division, Kapha is related with the cell nourishment and maturation. Hence, all the Arbuda has got generally a Vata Kapha background. A clinical study was conducted in Regional Cancer Center at Trivandrum, where we found out that almost 73% of people who are coming there with oral cancer comes under Vata Kapha Prakriti, which means that basic dosha profile of cancer is, we can consider this as Vata Kapha. It's a lifestyle problem. I am not because I am having only 15 minutes. Vidahyanam viruthanja tattacha asuk pradushanam bhajadam vidhihinanja. You see, actually all the nidanas of this Vata Rakta almost coincide with the nidanas of cancer also. That is also a very big, this is a coincidence actually. Old age, somatic mutation which is due to Vata, in old age decline in immune competence is there due to which leads to Ojakshaya, then virus and other microbes lead to Agantu, and family history is another reason. Age of a person and age of his individual organs will be different based on lifestyle. For example, a person who is drinking alcohol daily, his liver may be 60 years old, but he may be only 40 years old, which means that our age means it is a chronological age. Each and every organ in the body may differ in their own age. That is the age of the liver in a chronic alcoholic, and the age of the lung in a chain smoker will be more than the age of their chronological age. That is also very interesting thing. Idahi Atapa Anada Rekta Dushti, Mamsa Dushti. Arbuda has a Rekta Mamsa background. Then metastasis, then prognosis. This is very important. Regarding Vata Kapha Roga, almost all the Vata Kapha Rogas are either Yapya or Asatya. For example, we can take Tamaka Shwasa, so Yapya Stamaka. The first and foremost Vata Kapha disorder explained in our text is Tamaka Shwasa, which is Vata Kapha. Vatakapha predominant. So Yapya Stamaka Satya Navova Belino Pavit, which means that the Agni Vaishamya caused by the Visheshana of Vata leads to defective formation of Dhadus. In almost all the Vatakapha Virogas, Pitta will be inhibited, resulting in Agni Madhya. Then, as Agni Madhya takes a major role in the Samprapti of all the diseases, it is doubled in the case of Vatakapha Rogas. There is no such a rasa among Shadrasa. There is no such rasa which can be used commonly against Vata and Kapha. Then, Gurutvanja Mahatvanja Yasmal Nasti Vina Kapha. Definitely there will be some involvement of Kapha. Then, Adhisthana Peda, Nidana Svabhava, Sroto Rotha, everything then Agni also will be highly affected. Then, you see, due to Agni Madhya, Dhatu Agni Madhya occurs. On one side, it causes dhatu mara sanchaya, which causes irritation of dhadus and stimulation of carcinogen. The other side, vyathikshamatva heenata exposes to carcinogen, and that leads to onset of the disease. The Samprapti can be summarized in this way. Then reduced appetite and decline in body weight seen long before the detection of disease, even in non-GIT, non-gastrointestinal tract cancers. In those cancers also, reduced appetite and decline in body weight can be seen, indicating long-lasting, chronic and deep-seated Agni Madhya. That is why in the Siddhanta of Kaya Chikitsa is Yesha Sarastikilsayam Yadagane Parirakshanam. The essence of all the Kaya Chikitsa principles is Yesha Sarastikilsayam Yadagane Parirakshanam. You see, abnormal cells are formed in the body frequently. Normally they are silenced and destroyed by our immune system. This mechanism fails in cancer. Hence, indicates the role of altered immunity. Actually, this is a case of immunity loss disease. Then, cancer in Ayurveda hopes. Curative, supportive, preventive, psychological, community level. In many levels, we can actually interfere. In line of approach in some of the cancers, hepatocellular carcinoma with jaundice, treatment of Ruthapatha Kamila plus treatment of Yagrith Vidrathi. This is very successfully done by many of the Kerala Vaidyas. Then rectal carcinoma, actually this is a treatment of terminal stage of ulcers. In most of the cancer diseases, Rasayana Aushadas are most considered to be effective. For example, in rectal carcinoma, many Kerala Vaidyas use Halladaka Rasayana. Shushkeshu Halladaka Magrimuktam. Vaishajyam Ardreshu to Varsakatva. Halladaka is considered to be one of the Agri Aushada of ulcers. Hence, according to Dr. L. Mahadevan, who is not here now, according to his opinion, all the terminal diseases can be considered as malignancy of that particular system. For example, in ulcers, chronic ulcers, in ulcers, chronic ulcers or Sanivadiga ulcers can be considered as rectal carcinoma. In that way also we can consider cancer. Then cancer versus Rasayana. Disease is aged, regime of aging. Immunodeficiency will be there in cancer, but all the Rasayana Aushadas are immunomodulatory. Like Guluji, Ashwagandha, any medicine you can take, immunomodulatory. Then Agni Madhya, definitely there will be all the Rasayana Aushadas are Agni Deepana. Then it produces Shoshana, all the Rasayana Aushadas are Brahmana. These are some of the Rasayana Aushadas which can be used against cancer. For example, in many of the cases, Vartamana Vipali and this Brahma Rasayana is also considered to be very effective because in the indication of Brahma Rasayana, no diseases are told. For all the rasayanas, for example, Chavanaprasha, Kasam, Shwasam, Jaram, Shosham, Prudrogam, Vadachondagam, many diseases are explained. But in this Palasruti of Brahma Rasayana, no diseases are told, which means that it is actually meant for improving our immunity, which can be used for many types of cancer, for improving the immunity. Then Palladaka is also one of the best medicine. Then scope of Ayurveda in primary prevention in cases with a positive family history, healthy life, because they are actually at that time the positive family history is there, but at that time they are not cancer patients. Definitely we can manage the case with a healthy lifestyle and suitable application of Rasayana. Then in susceptible people, definitely they are very susceptible. Then some people are susceptible. In those cases, Shodhana Chikitsa plus suitable Rasayana. You see, I already told you that Vata Kapha predominance will be there in cancer patients' Prakriti, which means that, if we can, now the Prakriti Pariksha is going on by NCIM. If we can isolate the Vata Kapha predominant people in the society, they can be screened for various type of cancer. Definitely, that will be a very effective remedy for detecting early cancer, because Vata Kapha predominant Prakriti people are very susceptible to be affected with cancer. You see, in secondary prevention, patients with complete treatment after breast cancer or after cerebral tumor, they completed treatment with chemotherapy and radiation. Then the doctors are monitoring every 6 months. At that time, definitely, this is the right time for using Ayurvedic medicine. I emphasize, Vyathikara treatment can be done and suitable Rasayana also can be applied. Then add-on therapy. For example, during the chemotherapy, radiation, many people are having many side effects like vomiting, fatigue, fever, many problems are occurring. During those application of those medicines also, definitely we can add on therapy with Ayurvedic medicines, by which these complaints can be reduced and the tolerance of modern medicine can be increased. That is very, very important. Each medicine should be tolerant to the patient. Tolerance can be improved with Ayurvedic medicine. This is very frequently practiced in Kerala. Add-on therapy for better tolerance of radiation and chemotherapy, and community level awareness and health screening also, as I told earlier, Vata Kapha people can be screened and early detection can be done. In mucus gland, this is my own clinical experience, in mucus gland tumor, adenoid cystic carcinoma, after surgery and radiation, Ayurvedic drugs were prescribed and we were able to prolong the lifespan of the patient for 20 years. You see, actually there also we gave the medicine, Vyathikara medicines. Actually in that case we gave, this Varanadi Kashaya along with Gurgul Krita was given for 6 months. And after that, every year the patient was advised to take medicines for 2 months. Because, the further recurrence, because this is a very vulnerable tumor, every chance of recurrence is there. Doctors want maximum 2 or 3 years only the patient will survive. But with Ayurvedic management, supportive therapy, we were able to extend the lifespan for 20 years. That is a great achievement. In this way, in many cases we can manage, because nowadays the modern medicine is capable of managing the case, but they don't know how to prevent the recurrence. At that time, this is the right time for Ayurvedic doctors to interfere. Rasayana Aushadhas improve the nutritional status in cancer patients by increasing the immunity. Most of the Naimittika Rasayana, you see, Acharya Dalhana divides the Rasayana into 3. Kamyam, Naimittikam and Ajasrikam. And Naimittika Rasayana is exclusive for the treatment of diseases. Leshina, Pallataka, Tippali. Oh, you see, all the Naimittika Rasayanas are having Vata Kapha property. It's a very interesting coincidence, All the Pallataka, Leshina, Vartha, Tippali, all these Haritaki, all these Naimittika rasayanas are having Vata Kapha Hara property. Then, a 40-year-old healthy male, routine blood investigations reveal leukocytosis. You see, at that time the patient is not at all a cancer patient, but he is very, very healthy. How can we interfere? It is very, very difficult to manage. This is a very, very, very difficult situation. Sometimes you can say that we can do some panchakarma, some we can use, but according to what is the direction of the treatment, in which way we have to direct the treatment, that is a problem. When the risk of developing cancer. In acute myocardial infarction, after emergency management and with the proper medication, patient live for many, many years. We all know that. But but in cancer, after detection, the patient cannot live for a long period. What is the reason? Vishado Rogavartananam Sreshtam. That is the thing. Vishado Rogavartananam Sreshtam. Immediately after the detection of cancer, aggressive spreading is seen. The disease may be silent for years unknowingly. It highlights the psychological influence of immunity. Asha, in another version is there. Ashavan Vyati Mokshaya Sadhyo Vranam Apohati. It seems that cancer is a despair experienced at the cellular level. Despair experienced at the cellular level. Hence, we should change the attitude of the patient by making awareness and counseling. Thereby, the lifespan and quality of life can be improved. This is our ultimate.
And that interaction can be inhibited by this extract in a very, very low dose. That means the affinity of that interaction was actually pretty good. With the IC50 was 0.33 nanogram per microliter is actually very good dose for a herbal extract. We took it forward, and then we did some experiment, and this is just to show the chemistry. As I said, that chemistry becomes a core for us, and we try to see what each test article might contain, and we could see that this extract has a good sizable amount of withinol. And then we did the experiment on zebrafish. So during the COVID time, it was very difficult to actually set up an in vivo model for the viral disease. And given the fact that rats and mice do not express the ACE2 receptor, that means that virus cannot infect them. And during the lockdown time, it was even more difficult. So what we do, and that was a big challenge as well, that we worked with a zebrafish. Zebrafish has a swim bladder, which is an analogous organ to our lungs. It has an air sac inside it. So we took human lung cells, A549 cells, and injected them into that air sac and hoped that whether these cells can be deposited inside there and can they multiply. So we injected and wait for 7 days and found, yes, indeed, these human lung cells home in to the area of the swim bladder of the zebrafish. That means now these fish become humanized zebrafish model. And there then we injected them with the SARS-CoV-2 recombinant protein. So this protein would go to induce the same kind of inflammatory response that would happen hopefully in human. And then we look for the various endpoints and try to measure if we give ashwagandha whole plant extract or the enriched extract that has a withinol, what kind of responses happen. We measure the behavior, and this behavior in terms of the fever, and that you can see the behavioral fever, because the fish being a cold-blooded animal, it is very hard to measure the fever, but if you keep them in a chamber which has a different temperature and allow fish to swim across, you can then see how much time they spend in each chamber. That would indicate what's their body temperature. So we could see very easily in normal condition, fish spend more time at that temperature. In disease condition where they were induced with the SARS-CoV-2 virus spike protein, they went to a higher temperature, suggesting that they are going under hyperthermia. That means they're developing fever. And when you treat them with the wine vice, you can see there is a nice recovery and they tend to shift it out. You can quantify this putting a camera on the top and measure for 3 minutes and actually do a video recording and calculate what's the total time given over there. That indicate, yes, indeed, this drug has a capability to take care of the inflammation induced by SARS-CoV-2 virus spike protein. We measure various other parameters, and I'll be very happy to talk about it if any of you have any query. And this got published in Drug Design, Development and Therapy, where we could show that from ashwagandha, withinol could actually attenuate SARS-CoV-2 and host ACE2 interaction in a humanized fish model. Now, let's come to the next part, which is looking for Sporothrix. So our microbiology team is very strong, and they were very happy to test this extract into a specific fungus which causes other kind of diseases. And you can see as you increase the dose of this extract, the total fungus growth was also decreased, and that actually shows very clearly how that works out. We got it published in Apelus neglected topical disease because this fungus is a part of that class which causes these kind of phenotypes. Now, this is the last data that I'm going to show, and it's very latest one and very exciting, that we were actually very happy to see that what really happens in the leaves. Acharya and Swamiji says that people who are obese, someone like me, who take these leaves, they would be able to get some benefit. So I started using them for myself too, and I'm reporting some benefits. But we also did some experiment with the animals and with the cells, and try to find that is there an specific anti-obesity impact of the leaves of ashwagandha. There were some thoughts that if you are taking root of ashwagandha, that is only called ashwagandha. Everything else would be called something else. And there were some advisory from the government and from regulatory agencies. So we actually try to find out what really happens and which part of ashwagandha we need to get focused on. So data what you see right now for Vidania somnifera leaf extract, which we did, and I'll just show you some data. So these are the ones that we did with the cells. These are 3 cells, which has a tendency to accumulate fat. And if you label them with a dye that actually that labels fat red, you can see it here. For example, here, if you see these are all the fat is actually there, which is in form of the red thing. If you start treating them with this ashwagandha leaf extract, WSLE, ashwagandha leaf extract, you would see as the dose going up, the redness is going down, and you can see what's the lipid accumulation. This is from the well directly. You can see, you can quantify them and see very nice dose-dependent decrease into the lipid accumulation. At the same time, this extract has no adverse effect on the cell life. You can see what's the cell viability, and up to the dose that we tested, there was actually no adverse effect. Now, this happened because of the various transcription factor changes, various gene expression. I'm not going into detail for the interest of time, but you can see that various gene expressions, which are the critical factor for fat metabolism, that are being controlled by ashwagandha leaf extract. We can then go down to Western blot and look for the various protein, whether it's looking for PPR gamma or CB beta, that you can see those changes do happen. You can normalize and find, yes, indeed, this extract has that impact. And then we switched towards C. elegans that have been our model of choice for last 2 years, which is a small nematode, something like an earthworm, where we can develop various disease model. The lifetime of C. elegans is 21 days, and they are transparent, so a lot of things can be done with this worm. So there we can do experiments with various mutants. We have close to 110 different type of mutants which have been labeled with dyes or different GFP proteins. So they become a very good marker for a disease measurement. So here, if you see, on the top, what you're seeing is just a fat metabolism by stirring them with oil red O, which label them with the red color. So again, the way you see on the cells, similarly happen in the worms. As you increase the dose of WSLE, it goes down. And then these are the various mutant where the FAT6, FAT5, and FAT7, the genes which regulate the fat metabolism, they have been labeled with GFP. You see the bright green color, that means the expression of this gene is very high. And as you treat them with WSLE, these signals are going down, indicating that we are going in the right path. So this data have been published last month in International Journal of Biological Macromolecules, and we could show the pathway that goes through by playing with the MAP kinase signaling angle. So last slide that I want to show, which is very critical, this I'm going to skip because Dr. Kunal has already talked about it, which is looking for the nanoparticle synthesis and making quantum dots on it. But what I want to come on this is this part, because we are saying about that ashwagandha root are the good drugs, but someone is saying the ashwagandha leaves may not be used. So then we look for whether these drug has any adverse effect. So to measure that adverse effect, we conducted GLP tox studies in rats up to 1,000 milligram per kg per day, and we keep them on a daily basis. And this GLP tox data have been published in scientific reports where we showed that if you take these leaf extract up to such a high dose, you do not see any adverse effect. This is to show their body weight gains, their feed consumption. At the same time, 33 different organs which have been harvested, and histopathology was done, all the biochemical assessment done, all the clinical chemistry was done, and we could find that the no effect adverse and no observed adverse effect low dose, which is called NOEL, for Pidhania somnifera whole plant, and the leaf extract was 1,000 milligram per kg. Up to that dose, there was no change that we found. So that would mean that you can take this part of the plant, you can take almost every part of the ashwagandha plant, and they could be a potential drug. And that's a new drug discovery I'm talking about. That means that in place of finding a new plants with a medicinal benefit, you can also look for the existing plant and trying to find any part of there which has not been explored earlier can be taken up for the drug discovery and for the human health and taking care for the etiologies that we have been dealing with. So that comes to the last slide of my presentation, which is the motto of Patanjali Research Foundation, where we strongly believe Sarve Bhavantu Sukhna, Sarve Santu Niramaya. That means the science of medicine, from the oldest medicinal knowledge of the world, we offer to the whole world, and everyone remain happy, healthy, and fit. Thank you very much. You have been a fantastic audience. If there are queries, I'll be very happy to take them up. Of course. We'll talk more about it. We have a very good data on typhoid as well. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anurag Varshney, and gratitudes for opening our horizons of thinking with respect to ashwagandha. Till date, we were only banking upon the roots of ashwagandha, and now we have seed oil and leaf extract and leaves for problems. Our compartmentalized thinking has to be, turned up into versatile thinking. Thank you very much. Next on the cards is Dr. George Louis Berra, who's a director of different postgraduate courses in Ayurvedic medicine for the last 25 years, including Argentine Medical Association, Argentine Catholic University, and University of Gran Rosario. He's already professor from Great Rosario University, director of Prema Ayurveda Health Foundation of Argentina, which has many MOUs with Ayurvedic institutions of India. The topic of his talk is Evolving Perceptions, a 2-decade survey of Argentine physicians on the effectiveness of Ayurveda from 2003 to 2023. Over to you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. I am very happy to be here with my 23-year-old friend, Dr. Anup Takar. First time I met him in 2001 in Gujarat Ayurveda University, and also to Dr. Chandola. Argentina is 16,000 kilometers from India. Coming here, it requires 27 hours in a flight, 2 flights, and coming here to Dehradun 2 hours more. Then I want to show with you what is happening so far away, because Argentina is in the bottom of the world, and we are very far away from India, the place where Ayurveda has been established and is growing. And for that reason, we have carried out one research. But first, I want, as the lady has said, we are conducting, since 25 years back, conducting university courses on Ayurveda with the accreditation of the Argentine Medical Association, Great Rosario University, and also we are conducting since 2025 with Argentine Catholic University and other modules of Ayurveda at the Faculty of Medicine El Salvador University, and one master degree at Favaloro University. Our idea was to put Ayurveda in the best place possible, and for us, these are the universities. And we also have different MOUs with Indian institutions, because here in India there are a lot of institutions almost 500,000 medical doctors. Some of them are very good, some of them are not so good. Then we have been related with the Jamna, Gujarat Ayurveda University since 2001. Later with ITRA, we have one MOU recently with Rajasthan Ayurveda University, have been selected to be chair of Ayurveda seat in Buenos Aires, and we have the honor to sign one MOU with Rastriya Ayurveda Vidyapit in the presence of Prime Minister Modi ji and the General Director of WHO, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus. We have conducted this research on TCM, and it was a project conducted since 2003 to 2023, and we have involved for this research our students, 810 students of our distance learning course. We have requested them to contact medical doctors who are not involved in any form with Ayurveda or any other kind of TCIM, and to conduct some questions to them. And also this study has been approved by the ethical committee in Buenos Aires City. Sorry? Okay. The participants were doctors from Argentina who had been based in the locality of in the place of our students, and as I have said to you, they should not have any kind of training on Ayurveda. And I don't know what. Okay. We have, for this research, we are presenting the results of 2,758 medical doctors that we have interviewed. In fact, we have interviewed 3,400, but we discard the medical doctors that are not from Argentina. The reason is that we are conducting this university courses also for other Spanish Latin American countries, and then the students carry out the same research in their place. In fact, this is not a randomized selection of medical doctors, but I want to share with you that these 2,758 medical doctors represents 1.9% of all the medical doctors of Argentina. Argentina, we have 24 states, like in India, and the interviews were from all the states of Argentina, and there were a predominance of female medical doctors. I think that here in India is the same. We have more females than males doctors, almost 60% of female doctors, and they work mainly in the urban area. It was 67.5%. And in Argentina, we had the possibility that the trainment should be at the public university or at the private university. Most of them, like in our country, 86% had been trained in the public university. And it was really a large research project, and I want to share only 2 points about this, but I want to share with you what they are thinking in Argentina about the effectiveness of Ayurveda. We have asked them, what do you think about effectiveness of Ayurveda? I don't know. I think that Ayurveda has no scientific validity, has no effectiveness. I think that it has effectiveness, but without scientific evidence, or has effectiveness and also scientific evidence. You could see this is the average of this 20-year study. 64% of the medical doctors consider that they don't know if Ayurveda is effective or not, but almost 32% they say that Ayurveda is effective. And I want to share with you that this almost 32% of medical doctors that they consider that Ayurveda is effectiveness, 40% of them consider that Ayurveda has also proof of this effectiveness, while 60% thinks that it must prove in the future. We have conducted the research checking 13 systems or therapies not approved by our national health system, and check about the effectiveness of these 13. And we have in the interview these 13 the 13 system or techniques has been ordered in alphabetical order according to Spanish language. You could see that there are, they consider that Ayurveda has not so much evidence. There are, for example, acupuncture, homeopathy that is very important in our country. They are almost 50% of the, more than 50% of the medical doctors consider that these systems are, has effectiveness. But Ayurveda is in the bottom line. But what I want to share with you is the changes along these 20 years. If you could see that at the beginning, I don't know, sorry, yes. At the beginning, almost 74%, they don't know. Only little less than 20% consider that Ayurveda's effectiveness, but this has been increased from 2001 to 2005 to 2021 and 2023 from almost little less than 20% to little more than 40%. Then there is one increase during the years, and also there is a little decrease of the medical doctors that they don't have opinion about the effectiveness of Ayurveda. The other point that we included in this research project, it was asking them if Ayurveda should be included in the medical curricula, both at the UG level or at the PG level. And you could see here that at the UG level, 50% of these 2,758 participants, they consider that Ayurveda should be taught at the UG level, while little more than 62% they say that Ayurveda should be taught at the PG level or should be postgraduate courses. And also, as here, you could see that I show you that about effectiveness, Ayurveda is almost in the 10th place. But if you are considering which are the opinions about if Ayurveda should be included at the UG and the PG level, then you see that in the medical curricula, Ayurveda is in the 4th place. Between 13 possibilities, Ayurveda is in the 4th place according to the possibility of inclusion for studying medicine. And this, about PG level, it's included in the 3rd place among 13. Then, if we are checking this, we see that the medical doctors in Argentina prefer great medical systems, big medical systems recognized like Ayurveda, homeopathy, traditional Chinese medicine, or acupuncture. And we also see here the changes along the years. Suppose at the beginning of the study about the inclusion at the UG level, there were the green line is those doesn't know no answer, went from 25% to 15%. Those that consider that the Ayurveda should be included at the UG level, almost 40 to almost 60%, and also there is a decrease of 10% in the 20 periods about those who consider that Ayurveda should not be taught at the UG level. Same is happening at the PG level. We are checking that from the very beginning, 48.3% consider that Ayurveda should be at the PG level, and it has gone to 71.8%. Then we are seeing more than 20% of increase along these 20 years. Conclusions and the future lines of action about this, we are considering that there is a general opinion that Ayurveda should be included within the medical curricula. There is openness in from our medical community for this point, and we consider that it's very important. Second point is that the perception about effectiveness of Ayurveda has been increased along the time, but also that there is the requirement of research to confirm this effectiveness and to share them with all the people. And also that the awareness campaigns that are essential to highlight the benefits of Ayurveda and to address the persistent lack of knowledge regarding its potential advantage. What I want to say you, and I just wanted to quote the words from the Indian ambassador in Argentina, Sri Dinesh Bhatia. They request all different years, in all the years, to organize Ayurveda Day in Argentina. And during the last celebration, this 2024, he mentioned that he is astonished because he doesn't know any other country in the world that has so profound love for Ayurveda like Argentina. And then here we are. Thank you, India, for sharing Ayurveda and for helping us.
Thank you, Dr. George Louis Bera, for projecting and putting forth a very sensitive data amongst the audience. And Ayurveda is for one and all. It's not limited only to India. And Argentina is one good...
Sorry, I want to say, in India, Indian doctors are going from Ayurveda to modern medicine. In Argentina, modern doctors are going to Ayurveda.
A big round of applause. So we should all be, getting inspiration from his words and putting it into action. And the previous session from this, we were all discussing this, that what stringent rules NCISM has to apply to, push Indian doctors, Indian Ayurvedic Vaidyas to practice only Ayurveda. Thank you very much, sir. Because he has to leave, we'll be doing the felicitations. I would request the chairpersons to please honor sir with a memento. And I would also like to call upon Dr. Rag Bashne. Pleasure is all. You've all had lunch? Where are the claps? Thank you. No, sir, I'll be calling upon you. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. It's a privilege to have ambassadors of Ayurveda from all across the globe. This is a platform to harness the explosive knowledge scattered all around and put it in a single vessel for all of you to savor. I would like to call upon Dr. Alex Hanke, who's a British research scientist and has been working on bridging up the gap between Ayurveda and Western philosophy and medicine since 1992. Currently Professor Emeritus of Biology at MIT World Peace University in Pune. He recently published new insights into the structure of Ayurveda, yoga therapy and naturopathy, which has resulted in expanded model of biology. He has researched many Vedic sciences leading to revolutionary new theories in areas such as quantum physics and his new integrative biology and medicine. The topic of his talk would be Integrative Medicine Justifies Ayurveda Used to solve the non-communicable disease epidemic. Over to you, Professor Alex Henke.
Good afternoon. Let me first express my gratitude to the organizers of this wonderful World Ayurveda Congress for inviting me to speak. I spoke at the second World Ayurveda Congress in Pune, where I was working in 2006. Many of you will know my work, and my work has been published. I gave my first seminar on Ayurveda in 1993 in Maharishi International University in the United States. I have been publishing in good journals on Ayurveda, like Journal of Ayurveda and Alternative and Complementary Medicine, Journal of Ayurveda Integrative Medicine, since 2000, 2001. Many of you will know the basics of my work. So let me start by talking about, describing what I'm going to talk about. Next slide. Next slide, please. The title of the talk is that integrative medicine justifies the use of Ayurveda to solve the non-communicable diseases epidemic. If you look back at the British Medical Journal all the way back to 1990, they were talking with grave concern about the non-communicable diseases epidemic. And everyone knows that Western allopathic biomedicine only supplies palliative drugs, cannot in general cure chronic diseases, and has no answer to the strategy of how to do so. And we all know, as Ayurveda professionals and enthusiasts, that Ayurveda has the potential to cure almost, well, a very large percentage of the sufferers from non-communicable diseases, which is the general form of chronic disease. So the government of India has proposed a new paradigm in medicine to integrate modern medicine with the Ayush systems of medicine. And the previous speaker spoke about the enthusiasm for this in Argentina, but he may not know that in India, all medical colleges are going to be required to teach integrative medicine, and on graduation, the graduates of a bachelor's medical degree will go on to specialize either in a specialty in biomedicine or in one of the 7 Ayush systems of medicine. That's Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Swarigpa, and homeopathy. 7 systems of complementary medicine, for which I have worked out, being a physicist trained in Cambridge and MIT, the other MIT in Boston, I have worked out the basic understanding to a rigorous level, as I shall describe to you in part of this lecture. So there is this policy detail was worked out by the National Medical Commission. It's a very challenging project by the director and acting chairman, who was former director of NIMHANS, and who, as director of NIMHANS, was very much responsible for introducing yoga therapy and Ayurveda into the treatment of mental diseases. So he had very considerable experience, and he met with great challenges, as I understand, and he told me, from the people who didn't and really found this very threatening, even the homeopaths. So, next slide. The strengths of each approach, that's the first thing to consider. Ayush, that's all 7 systems, can maintain and restore health by various means, disturbed by non-communicable diseases. For each NCD, there's probably 1 or more modalities of Ayush which are preferable. And the advantage of these is that they have a genuine commitment to cause no harm, to keep the Hippocratic Oath, and we know full well that that is not the case with practitioners of biomedicine who cannot help but give drugs which cause unnecessary side effects. In fact, we had in the previous talk on Withania somnifera, we had a very considerable discussion of the low levels or non-existence of side effects. I thought it was a brilliant talk. Thank you very much. So biomedicine has definite advantages in certain situations, as we all know. intensive care, necessary surgeries, treatments for infectious diseases like tuberculosis, leprosy, rabies, and so on. But Ayurveda also has excellent treatments for these, like dengue fever, malaria. Leprosy was treated by the Shakadvipi Vaidyas to cure Lord Krishna's son, according to the last late parts of the Mahabharata. So I happen to know some of the Shakadvipi Vaidyas, and they can confirm that they have these amazing, still not put into the Ayurvedic texts. They have these private remedies preserved over thousands of years. So, next slide, please. Ayurveda's particular strengths. Obviously, we're primarily interested here in Ayurveda. It has the power to reverse system imbalances causing chronic disease, and they are caused by particularly stress and poor diet and lifestyle. Stress can particularly be treated by yoga, especially its seventh anga, and yoga therapy is considered for mental illness and other things like this a primary subdivision of Ayurveda, and is treated as such in several of the Samhitas. Stress in its seventh anga, yoga dhyan, the transcendental meditation technique, which I learned in 1959 and became a teacher in 1973, March, has 1,000 references to its powers and its effectiveness, and combinations of Maharishi transcendental meditation technique together with Panchakarma treatment and other Ayurveda treatments, very, very powerful. And if we look at poor diet and lifestyle, then the Ahar Vihar recommendations of Ayurveda, like don't end your meal with ice cream. Start your lunch in the second prahar, which I don't see practiced anywhere. But these are very strong recommendations by Ayurveda for strengthening the digestive system, making sure that toxins don't build up in the after products of digestion, and so on. You all know that, but I just need to remind us that Ayurveda has incredible strengths, and it can treat things like insulin resistance and glucocorticoid resistance, and so on. Next slide, please. So, integrative medicine will combine the two sets of strengths, those mentioned in slide 1, number 1, and the ones in number 2. So this enables it to treat as an integrated system of medicine, integrative medicine, pathologies of all kinds. You just have to have the correct person to understanding what to recommend, as happened in that well-known hospital in Gurgaon, which has had integrative medicine being practiced, modern medicine and Ayurveda, for several years. So it will optimize treatments for all pathologies. Biomedicine will be recommended to remove immediate symptoms, and as the imbalances improve, then Ayurveda and Ayush treatments will then be able to restore health in ways that modern medicine cannot, doesn't know how to, for reasons I'm going to explain to you, because as a theoretical physicist, I've actually worked out a strong theory for it, which I've called integrative biology. So next one, please. Integrative biology is a new theoretical foundation for integrative medicine. I published 2 papers on it, one in Annals of Ayurvedic Medicine in 2021 as an invited editorial with that name, and a second, a collaborative paper with my head of department and associate dean, Professor Anup Kale, in the Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine in a supplement in 2023. And if you really want to understand the theory, I would suggest that you read the second paper. It's quite condensed, so it's a little difficult. But I have offered always to answer any questions and any emails that people send me, and it's actually a very rigorous treatment. But it's highly unusual, and it incorporates sections of biology that biologists themselves haven't heard of, usually. I'll come to that. So, next slide, number 5, please. Integrative biology. It's molecular biology plus several additions. By molecular biology, I mean you have the biochemical pathways here. Underneath, you have the enzymes made of polypeptide chains constructed in ribosomes by mRNA, synthesized in the nucleosome, probably, by the DNA. So you get this well-known molecular biology sequence. But I can tell you that if that was the only thing in biology, which is all doctors are taught, no organism would ever survive, because it wouldn't be able to do two things that I'm coming to next. It wouldn't be able to adapt to changes in the environment, and it needs to have adaptability. So there is a concept called fractal physiology, which is mathematically very precise but rather complex, and it can be interpreted by saying that the regulation of the organism is centered on points of instability. The wonderful advantage of points of instability is that the organism can respond much more sensitively and much better to any changes in the environment. Now, that's obviously an advantage. If you have a more efficient, more responsive system of regulation, it gives you an advantage over all the competitors in your eco-niche, your ecological system. So naturally, this property of fractal physiology turns out to be a property of all organisms everywhere. Only the problem is that I'm the first person to explain that this is because it optimizes regulation. So this is a first, which is actually contained in that 2023 paper in Journal of Ayurveda Integrative Medicine. So this idea that there is a criticality, a critical instability, goes back to 1987 in a famous paper by 3 physicists called Bach, Tang, and Wiesenfeld, and its presence is due to the optimization of response functions in that context I gave you, and this is controlled by a well-known biological property which is not in any of the biology textbooks, which is called hormesis. And hormesis is a phenomenon where you give a nanogram quantity of a toxin to a solution containing bacteria, and the bacteria, you realize that a toxin is something which poisons and prevents the action of an enzyme active center. That's what all drugs do. All modern drugs are toxins by that definition. So the thing about organisms is that they respond to that by a feedback loop which sits up above the biochemical pathways, and it means that when this particular action on the biochemical pathway gets blocked more of the enzyme is produced so that more of the products are produced. It's an absolutely phenomenally beautiful feedback mechanism which allows the organism to maintain healthy functioning despite the presence of microscopic, nanoscopic quantities of toxins of all kinds. And it's on this basis and the very sensitive criticality-based regulation that homeopathy is able to work. That's another of my theories. That's just an aside. So step number 6, please. So you have this, I call a sandwich model when I lecture on it in the West. And because the best sandwiches in India are vada pav, in India I like to tell my audiences that it's a vada pav model. You have your bread on the bottom, you have your nice tomatoey sauce in the middle, which are the biochemical pathways, and you have all these wonderful regulatory properties on top, making a nice vada pav. So enjoy your vada pav if you eat it at lunchtime, and just think of the vada pav model. And this is particularly well portrayed in the graphical abstract in the 2023 paper. Or there is one figure in there, maybe figure 1. Next, please, number 7. The integrative model turns out to be holistic. The effect of the systems theory of Ayurveda, Tridosha, Vata corresponds to input, output. Pitta dosha corresponds to throughput, digestion, metabolism, and the Kapha dosha corresponds to storage, and we all know that lipids and carbohydrates have the power to aggravate kapha, particularly if you have insulin resistance. So there are the basic references. You can look them up on Google Scholar. And then I produced a paper in 2012 while I was working with founding the Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, called The Ontological Status of Western Science and Medicine. It's reductionist, and it's completely in contrast to Ayurveda, which has a completely holistic picture of cell function and organism function, and which enables every function in the organism to get integrated. And that's only the beginning of it, and there will be 2 more phases in development of that picture soon. For instance, the last reference is an unpublished paper by myself and Baswati Bhattacharya, how biological regulation makes Ayurveda's 3 doshas behave like physical fields. Now this means that one dosha can literally move onto another. Vata dosha is centered in a healthy person in the lower abdomen. Pitta dosha in the middle of the torso, and Kapha dosha, the stomach and up to the head, and the throat, and the eyes, and so on. So you can move the region because these doshas have now assumed field-like properties, thanks to the instabilities. You can actually physically imagine one dosha moving on and causing aggravation, prakopa, to another dosha. So next one, please. 8, we're getting towards the end. Health in this system is optimal regulation. It became very clear to me after a lecture in Sharada Foundation in Mumbai in 2012 that poor regulation corresponds to poor health. The corollary to that is that if you can improve the quality of regulation, you improve the quality of health. So if you can, in some sense, optimize regulation, you get optimum health. But obviously, in each sector, optimum health corresponds to what you would call health. So arogya gains, or even swasthya, gains a particular definition. So there are two references in the Journal of Scientific Healing Outcomes founded by that great and wonderful ex-Vice-Chancellor of Manipal University. And you can compare this to the rather feeble WHO, World Health Organization definition. Health is just well-being on, sorry, it should read on, physical, mental, and social levels. Now, when you look at the definition of health, molecular biology only contains the lower half of the sandwich. There's no regulation to optimize, so within molecular biology, you cannot have this kind of sensitive definition of health. That's why you need integrative biology to make biomedicine more aware of the real science that is being played out in organism regulation. It's very necessary, and it has these marvelous effects. So, next slide, please. So, Ayush systems restore health, and I like to put them, for this purpose, in the following sequence. You take naturopathy because its policies are to strengthen the life force known in the West as vis vitalis, the force, vis of life, vitalis. It enables self-healing to occur. That's the absolute primary strategy of naturopathic medicine. And it eliminates toxins and takes many steps, like hot and cold bathing, to prevent their buildup. Yoga therapy expands this to consider the life force as what might be called the life breath, prana. And of course, asanas, yoga asanas, anga 3 of yoga, are designed to remove blockages in the nadis so that the chi, sorry, it's not chi, I beg your pardon, the prana in its various forms can flow down the nadis. Don't look at the way your second president mistranslated that. He translated the hridaya as the heart, the nadis as the arteries, and as the prana as the oxygen in the bloodstream. That kind of complete misunderstanding has to be eliminated once and for all. Just like the antiquity of Veda and the antiquity of Ayurveda, which is revoltingly misassessed by Max Muller, all his descendants, and even professors now working at the School of Oriental Sciences in SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London. So, pranayama expands and strengthens prana, and you will find the sutras which describe this within Sadhana Pada. Ayurveda employs these strategies, and it strengthens Ayus, which is Ayurveda's fairly accurate name for the life force. And I think there's another one, if any of you would like to remind us. And it employs yoga treatments as necessary, but most importantly, it has the strategy of restoring balance to Tridosha. So let's just look at that in a little more detail. Next slide. So Ayurveda has this wonderful description of how disease develops. I'll be 2 minutes. Shadkriyaka, the 6 stages of disease development, 6 stages of disease development described in Sushruta Samhita. It's the most wonderful pathophysiology. It's far, far above anything which is offered in the West. The West's pathophysiology was based on the great work by the French pathophysiologist Claude Bernard, and it's called La Pathophysiologie en français. And that was a pathophysiology of terminal disease and death. But Bernard asks the question in his book, how might health degenerate into the terminal symptoms that he described? Now, you will be aware of the 4 stages that come before manifestation and what's often translated as shredding. Avyakta and, sorry, it eludes me. Little did he know that Sushruta Samhita, written 2,500 years before, had all the answers. Really good answers that you can map out in great detail when you look at things like metabolic syndrome and almost every disease. And I've written papers on how stages 3 and 4 often can correspond to imbalances in the cytokines, IN6, IN8, IN12, and so on. And you can really map out the stages of Shadkriya Kal as how the regulatory system, that after all, is the function of cytokines, how the regulatory system is driven out of balance. So let's look at the conclusion. Slide 12. Ayurveda can be scientifically understood to restore health, and how it sets about restoring health. Ayurveda and Ayush incorporate many strategies to restore health, and the proper integrative use of Ayurveda will transform the health of India. In fact, it will transform the health of any nation like Argentina, which encourages its wide application. And in the end, we can hope that all nations will participate, and India will be seen in its true dharmic light, the bringer of health to humanity. Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Thank you. Thank you very much. And once again to the organizers, thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for honoring the paucity of time. And thank you for projecting out-of-the-box ideas and widening the horizons of Ayurvedic biology and its functionality. Your novel presence has been our privilege. Next in the row is none other than Professor Hari Mohan Chandola, who's been the chairman, who's working as a chairman, Institutional Ethics Committee, Main Harwala Campus, Uttarakhand Ayurveda University, and he has held many prestigious positions. He has been formerly Director, Principal, Chaudhry Brahm Prakash Charak Ayurved Sansthan, Government of National Capital of Delhi. And he's been ex-HOD and Dean, IPGTNR, Gujarat Ayurved University, Jamnagar. I always, have an opinion that is a brilliant think tank all in front of you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Honorable Chairpersons, Vice Chancellor Professor Tripathi, and formerly Director of Institute of National Importance at Jamnagar, Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, Professor Anup Thakur, Professor Alex Henke, and all the delegates present in this hall. It's given me a great pleasure to share a few of my experiences on this topic, diabetes, about the concept and management. It's a very common problem nowadays, considered globally. It's not moving. Yeah. So this survey of 21 shows that the prevalence of diabetes worldwide is more than 10%. And by 2030, the number of the patient will be 643 million. And by 2045, the number will be 783 million. Huge amount is invested for this care of this problem, $966 billion, and 6.7 million deaths reported in survey of 2021. 541 million people have impaired glucose tolerance, which are the risk factor for type 2 diabetes. And as Professor Alex Henke was talking about the Sushrutas Shadkriya Kal, the 6 stages of the evolutive process for the development of disease. And if we are able to identify patient at this stage and we adopt proper dietary and lifestyle care, the further progression from metabolic syndrome to prediabetes and from prediabetes to diabetes can be arrested. So that concept is a very important concept of the Shadkriya Kal of Sushruta. In India also, more than 11% population is suffering with this disease, and 15% people have the pre-diabetic stage. It is more seen in the urban area rather than rural area, and the persons who have associated high blood pressure, they are more risky to develop this disease. In Ayurvedic literature, it is very clearly mentioned that the patient is passing urine in excessive quantity, and frequency is also increased, and the causative factors diet related are the factors which are rich in this carbohydrate and fat. So metabolism of fat and carbohydrate is disturbed. So milk product, jaggery product, all are considered as risk factor. And in lifestyle, the sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, day sleep, and other stress-related psychological factors are also described among the causes. Before the disease develop the symptoms, there is a concept of Purup or prodromal symptom or premonitory symptom. And very clearly it is told that the sweetness in the mouth and sitting of fleas on the body, swarming of ants in the urine, that clearly shows the concept of glycosuria and hyperglycemia was well known to them. आप हलवाई की दुकान पे जाइए, मिठाई में जैसे मक्खियाँ भिनकती रहती हैं, ऐसे ही प्रमेही के पेशेंट में मक्खियाँ जो है वो बैठती रहती हैं. That shows the blood glucose level is very high. The Sushruta says patient may be of Sahaj and Apatya Nimittaj, the genetic paradigm of disease and defective diet and lifestyle. That so the previous one is more favorable for insulin dependent, and the Apatya Nimittaj goes in favor of non-insulin dependent, which is considered as type 2 diabetes. 3 stages are mentioned: Kaphaja Prameha, Pittaja Prameha, Vataja Prameha, which can be considered as early diabetes, acute diabetes, and chronic stage of diabetes. Sushruta has classified the symptom based on body constitution. Patient may be stool or obese, and patient may be asthenic or lean and thin. Again, the Krish Pramehi are those patients who in the beginning may be non-insulin dependent, but very quickly they develop insulin dependency. And the obese patients are certainly type 2 or non-insulin dependent. They have also mentioned, based on all these things, the patient who can be managed easily, and the type 2 patient, obese diabetics, and early stage that can be managed easily, and the patient who are Sahaj Prameha, Sushruta mentioned because of the defective ovum and sperm. Charak has mentioned Jata Pramehi Madhumehi Nova. So when the patient is developing disease from the very beginning, that is also of asadhya category or unmanageable category. And as Sushruta says, sarve pramehastu kalena pratikarana madhumeha tu mayanti tad asadhya bhavanti. In due course of time and due to improper management, all types of prameha are landed to madhumeha, which is terminal stage of disease and said to be incurable. So madhumeha is a subtype of Vataj prameha. We can understand prameha which include all three conditions: metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes, and diabetes. Obesity is the main component, which is because of the kapha dosha dominance. And in all these obese diabetic patients, especially who have abdominal more fat, so they develop insulin resistance, and they are in favor of type 2. And according to Ayurveda, these are sthula pramehi, and this metabolic syndrome, where you find central obesity, high cholesterol, and low HDL, high LDL, hypertension, insulin resistance. So it is all because of the defect in the Medha dhatu, and you can consider it under dyslipidemia. So main problem is insulin resistance, dysfunction of the beta cell, and genetic susceptibility plays a very important role, leads to type 2 diabetes, where more than 80% patients develop insulin resistance. And increased food intake and obesity increases the insulin in the circulation. This increased insulin through negative feedback process reduces the insulin receptor in the target cell. That's why there is less responsiveness for utilizing the glucose. As soon as you are reducing the weight, you are reducing the obesity, these insulin receptors are again regenerated, and that's why there is increased responsiveness for glucose utilization. That is the reason that by diet control, by weight reduction, the blood sugar level goes down. Prameha, madhumeha, both words, terminologies are used for this disease. And when we talk about management, management means samprapti viktan, the disintegration of the pathogenesis. Ayurveda talk about involvement of 3 doshas and 10 dushyas. So all the medicines, we should not unnecessarily go for hypoglycemic or anti-hyperglycemic. You will have to consider from viewpoint of taking care of dyslipidemia also, inflammatory conditions also. And so differently they have mentioned the pathogenesis of Kaphaj prameha, Pittach prameha, Vataj prameha, the excess of growth hormone, give you a biomarker of growth hormone excess for Bahudrav Shleshma, which is a peculiar type of nature of Shleshma in the pathogenesis of disease. In Pittach prameha also, the high level of catecholamine and cortisol, that plays a more important role. And in Vataj prameha, the structural and functional changes in the beta cell that leads to the insulin dependency. Mainly 3 types: Kaphaj prameha, Pittach prameha, Vataj prameha. Then they have described subtypes: 10 Kaphaj prameha, 6 Pittach prameha, and 4 Vataj prameha. Only in 3 subtypes, that is Sheet meha, then Ikshu meha, and Madhumeha, the sweetness of urine is mentioned. Rest in other subtypes, sweetness is not referred. That's why the Pittach variants are more indicating the inflammatory condition, and which we find in the metabolic syndrome also. And these subtypes are based on the examination of urine and some associated symptoms. Different colors of urine as mentioned: haridra mein, turmeric, I mean the yellow urination; rakt mein, blood-like urine; manjistha mein, the decoction of manjistha; neel mein, vagera vagera. So in that way, different metabolites are passed in the urine. And in Vataj prameha, they have mentioned vasa mein, the lipid is passed in the urine; majja mein, the marrow is coming; and hasti mein, incontinence leads to the uncontrolled urination; and madhume, which is described as ojo mehe by Sushruta, that immune substance is passed in the urine. On the basis of examination of urine, we have collected the GTT-proof patients of diabetes. Their fasting morning urine was collected in big jar, and then the color, the deposits, all were identified. And in a small series of 27 patients, we were able to identify 11 subtypes of prameha in these patients. Then in Ashtang Sangrah, they have mentioned the upadra or complications of Kafaj, Pitta and Vataj prameha. 2 days before, they were talking about the prakriti of the people. And when we found that same clinical presentation, same duration of disease, same drug was given, but the response was not same in all the cases. Then we focused that how Prakriti plays a role in the pathogenesis, in the progression, and in the response of the treatment also. So we evaluated the Prakriti of the patients, and based on anthroposcopic features, physiological features, and psychological features. And then also we evaluated the neurohumors, the concept given by Professor K. N. Udupa in Banaras Hindu University to consider biomarker acetylcholine for Vata, catecholamine for Pitta, and histamine for Kapha. I am not saying that Vata is acetylcholine. No, not at all. What I am saying is that acetylcholine and likewise substances could be taken under the broad heading of Vata. Similarly, catecholamine, which is sum total of epinephrine and norepinephrine, that can be covered under the broad umbrella of Pitta. And similarly, histamine and likewise substances can be categorized under the broad heading of Kapha. Since the whole neuroendocrine system is disturbed, so we evaluated these in normal individuals and then in diabetes subjects also. And we have seen that in Kapha Prakriti healthy individuals, the body mass index is high. In Vata Prakriti people, Pondal index, height-weight ratio is high. And in Pitta Prakriti people, the values are in between. Similarly, we have seen that acetylcholine was predominantly high in Vata Prakriti people, catecholamine was predominantly high in Pitta Prakriti people, and histamine was predominantly high in Kaphaja Prakriti people. And we have seen that Kaphaja Prakriti type of diabetic patients, they have a pattern of mild hyperglycemia. Vata Prakriti type of diabetic patient have pattern of severe hyperglycemia. And Pitta Prakriti people have moderate hyperglycemia. Similarly, in Kaphaja Prakriti people, insulin was not lowered. In Vata Prakriti people, the insulin value was hypoinsulinemia or leading to insulinemia. So we can say that progression is quick in those diabetes who have Vata Prakriti. The progression of diabetes is slow in those patients who have Kaphaja Prakriti. With advancing the lesion, the fall in insulin and rising pattern in blood sugar is noted, which is more severe in Vata Prakriti and mild in case of Kaphaja Prakriti. When we come to the management, the dietary management, the best food is that which is not sweet, not too oily, and have the ability to mitigate kapha meda, and having nourishment type of effect. Warm diet is recommended since it will ease kapha, normalize vata, and stimulate pitta to take care of the digestion. Barley is recommended. Prime Minister talks about Shri Anna, the millet diet. And in this Uttarakhand, Madua, which is known as Ragi in southern India, that is highly recommended. Kodo, that is also called. And even the anti-diabetic biscuits was launched by a Kerala doctor, P.G. Kurup. And the base was this Ragi or Madua. Again, this turmeric, coriander, cumin, garlic, and fenugreek, and this cinnamon, dalchini, they all have reported anti-diabetic effect. Yesterday in Ahar discussion, they were telling that every food is maybe have medicine effect, but medicine is not the food. So in that way, all these spices which we are using in our kitchen, they all have known medicinal effect. Of course, Anupan also plays a very important role. Patients are advised to avoid laziness and sedentary lifestyle. Sushruta has recommended regular exercise, brisk walk, jogging, sports, and they have recommended every person, whether Hindu, Muslim, Christian, they should read their spiritual scriptures. That will, Hindu may go for Gita, Muslim can go for Quran, Christian may go for Bible. That will help in developing positive mental attitude and also keep away from anxiety, stress, tension, frustration, depression. So that is the utility of reading the religious scriptures. And as Mr. Dr. Alex Henke also talked about yoga, pranayam, that also help. Many of the asanas have known effect like Paschimottanasana, Trikonasana, Sarvangasana, Yoga Mudra, Pavan Muktasana. They help in stimulating the pancreas, release of insulin. Also, other mode of action are also mentioned. Keep away from anxiety and stress. So, yoga is an integral part of Ayurveda. Remember this thing. So, management of diets, wherever found necessary, you should go for Panchakarma procedures, for purification, especially for obese diabetics. And Sushruta says that the care of the Medo Roga is also the Chikitsa for Prameha Roga. Various herbs, polyherbal combination, herbo-mineral combinations are recommended. And number of drugs in Charak Samhita, Sushruta and Ashtang Hridaya, more than 100 drugs are described. As I mentioned that every drug is not having hypoglycemic effect, every drug is not having anti-hyperglycemic effect. So, but by different mode of action, they are working to take care of this disturbance in this prameha, metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes and diabetes. And yesterday they were talking about evidence-based documentation. So scientifically also, a lot of work has been done on Shilajit, which is very good for diabetes, take care of the glycosylated hemoglobin, insulin also. It is a rasayan drug, cinnamomum, tamal, tejpatra, which you are using in kitchen. And pulao is a well-known, take care of the reduction of the fasting sugar, promoting insulin release, taking care of postprandial sugar, and immediate quick action within 2 hours, fall of blood glucose level and jump in insulin. Pterocopper, marsupium, Vijayasar, lot of work has been done, reduces the blood sugar, promotes the insulin, and most of the anti-diabetic drugs are Kashaya Ras, Tikta Ras, or Katutikta Kashaya. Tinospora cordifolia, it is also a rasayan drug, having blood sugar lowering action, taking care of the, on streptozotocin-induced model, insulin regeneration type of effect in beta cell is reported. And this in Hills area, on that day, inauguration day, the Chief Minister was referring this Daru Haridra, Berberis aristata. So berberine is present in Berberis aristata and this Tinospora cordifolia also, that lowers the blood sugar and decreases the insulin secretion resistance, and also help in the pancreatic regeneration. So it is a wonderful drug, Guduchi and Berberis aristata. Then we mixed Karela, Momordica charentia in Vijayasar. Then further action was potentiated, and Meshishringi Gymnema sylvester is also a very good drug for insulin resistance, insulin care, blood sugar care, glycosylated hemoglobin, and Swartia cerata. A lot of work has been done by Professor Mukherjee in CDRI, bark of the neem tree, then Acacia ficus glomerata, and ficus, this Avartaki pushpuchu. We have worked on Mamejak, Meshishringi, Jamun seed. And many drugs are not described in Ayurveda like Mamejak, but it came to the Ayurvedic literature from the folklore medicine. So physician can develop his own formulation, Salacia chinensis, then Majufal, and this tribal are using in Palghat area, Curcuma nilingrensis. They give one leaves 3 times for chewing purpose. It has also shown good effect on reduction of blood sugar and promotion of insulin, we have seen that based on constitution, the herbal drugs have shown best response in Kapha Prameha or early diabetes, and in Vata Prakriti, the response was not so encouraging. And to take care of the stress, whatever principal drug they were taking, we have added Saraswat Churn, which includes Ashwagandha, Shankpushpi, Brahmi, Jyotishmati, etc. And stress was counteracted, then the control of blood sugar was better. We can use organ-specific rasayana to take care of the complication, especially for dementia, Alzheimer, like Shankpushpi, Brahmi. For ischemic heart disease, Arjun, Guglu, Pushkar Mool can be added. Then for diabetic enteropathy, Bilb, Kutaj, Haritki. Then for nephropathy, combination of Punarnava, Gokhru and Varun. Erectile dysfunction is a very common problem. For that purpose, Ashwagandha, Muesli and Mucuna prurens can be taken. For neuropathy, we can use Dashmul, which improves the conductivity of the nerve along with Guglu-based formulation. Diabetic retinopathy, Saptamrit law, and Mahatriflagrat can be utilized. And in nutshell, I will conclude, all the patients of diabetes are not similar. We should take care of the psychosomatic constitution, which plays a role in the progression and prognosis of disease. And based on constitution, line of treatment can also be decided. It is good to identify the alkaloid in the research. There is no problem that develop the faith that this alkaloid helps in the, when we talk about the mode of action. But when it's come to therapeutic application, we should use drug as a whole, because natural combination of alkaloid should not be disturbed. Wherever found necessary, mental health promoting major drugs can be added. Organ-specific rasayana can be added to take care of the complications. Yoga and panchakarma, wherever found necessary, that can also be added. There is no jhagda between between Ayurveda and modern conventional medicine. Both are complementary and supplementary to each other. Wherever found necessary, along with the herbal combination, we can add oral insulin promoter in Vataj Prameha or Vataj constitution. If required, insulin can also be added. Ultimate objective is to take care of the patient, to keep him healthy and happy. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share a few of the experience. Thank you. Is any query? I'm ready to.
Thank you, sir, for very valuable insights about Pramehe. Very relevant as India is galloping to become the diabetes capital of the world. We as healthcare providers need to sensitize ourselves about this metabolic condition. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to call upon Dr. Venkata Narayan Joshi to deliver his talk. He is among the few thousands of highly skilled migrants to United Kingdom who migrated on credentials of Ayurveda degrees. And he's been representing Ayurveda in Royal College of Psychiatrists, Director for Association of Ayurveda in UK. He would be talking about gut-brain axis through food as medicine. Thanks for your insightful talk. We look forward to.
Slides out this way. Right, where is my slides? Good afternoon, Chairperson, learned audience. Gut-brain axis, food as medicine, as Mesdam introduced, with associations in UK, in Europe, Croatia, France. Myself, Dr. Venkata Narayana Joshi, and Dr. Suresh Swarnapuri have taken up a pilot project on the virtue of understanding the gut health perspective to growing children. I am also working with gentlebirthmethod.com, where antenatal, postnatal, neonatal care is being done according to Ayurveda principles. And my slides showing upon the relativity of the children should be used as a tool for developing and understanding the brain, gut, in conjunction with the taste. Why taste? Professor late Dr. John Money in 1989, the Johns Hopkins Medical University has postulated brain maps, food maps, and which are going to be fixed into the new life from the 0 to 1 year age group, from the 1 to 3 year age group, and 3 to 7 year age group is the biggest change where the taste buds and the brain register that Ayurveda's approach from gut-brain axis, survey api rogau sutaram udaranicha, understanding the significance of epigenetics, ahara vidhi vishesha ayatanani, ishtavarna rasa gandhopeta. This is the biggest transformation for the genetics and genomes. Genomics going to be in the study with this pilot project analyzing how the young brains get tuned for the kind of the taste. This has triggered me in my observations when I was with my grandchildren born in National Health Service in London hospitals. I wondered to see postnatal mothers with their breast milk samples kept in the refrigerators with multicolors. Where Ayurveda, you know, the quality of the nourishment. Submit किया मैंने, laptop में है देखिए, आप करिए, laptop में है, मैडम देखिए. Anyway, I have submitted the PPTs, but unfortunately, I'm not able to show here. I don't know why. Anyway, I'll talk like this. So my interest was, when Ayurveda said about the quality of the breast milk, you understand how significant the conch shell deep down into the oceans, how cool it is, how white it is, and a drop of the mother's breast milk kept into the distilled water, disseminating the ways and patterns, or a simple observational organoleptic methods of testing the quality of the breast milk from the coolness of the mother into the nourishment of the babies. Unfortunately, I saw these things that even the mothers at home with the nurturing care of the babies, nurses will advise breast milking is being done, pumping is done and kept in the refrigerators because mothers are working. And this is the mother and baby care. We understand how significantly science coming to the mother and nesting and the babies delivered at home. Now we can see in London, most of the mothers would like to deliver as a natural methods of the pool birds at home with assisting. I am assisted with this so many celebrity families from Hollywood to Bollywood and as well as to the royal families, the deliveries being conducted under the natural methods of Ayurveda theories. My wife sitting over here, she was allowed to chant the Lalita Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama, so many things in the delivery room. So I started thinking about that, how children are born with the innate inborn genetic deficiencies of the skin diseases. We understand the skin diseases coming from shakas, that is from the rasa and rakta, and the significant amount of the toxins loaded from mother into the growth of the embryo, and that is born children with the skin diseases. So many mothers used to come to me with the twin children under the 1 year babies. We cannot even give any medications for children and give the medicine to the mother for purification of the breast milk to the mothers. When they are not weaning, in the weaning periods, what can we do to the children? And the external applications, I have given IMCOPS Sindhura Dilepam, which was outstanding in the external applications to remit partially. No any cream NHS was supporting for the skin diseases. So many mothers and children are benefited by the kind of the nutritional advices what we are giving through gentlebirthmethod.com, Dr. Gauri Mota. And these theories of the brain maps, food maps, developed by this Johns Hopkins Medical University way back in 1989 when I was there, and started working with the schools. The primary school like Krishnavanti School, Hindu Sanatana Dharma schools in London, With the consent of the parents, derived the questionnaire, indirect methods of understanding children's lifestyle, and believe me, the sugar, the jellies, the maida, the potatoes, these are the things which are confectionery, processed food, baby foods. It's a pity to see that how children are exposed to these unhealthy food habits. So I started campaigning with the community health services. We have a community interest company. So in the hospitals, on the multi-faith cultural activities, in the NHS hospitals and trusts, and we go there and educate the parents. The significance of the taste should be developed from the childhood. That Ayush Ahar is now much prevalent to be traded now. I was working with the Sakshi groups of the nutritional supplementations. Now the Sakshi group in London supplying 1 million antenatal food kits. So this is the way the prevention for the child's health into the futuristic generations, not to suffer from the nutritional gut dysfunctions, which are leading and primarily being found over the skin. So the Rasa Dhatu, we know how clean it should be in the heart. In Ashtanga Hrudaya, you can see the descriptions of the purity of the essence being absorbed from the nutrients, which is something like a submerged in the water. Can you see the sunlight under the water? The spark in the heart, which ignites. Neelatoyada madhyastha vidyullekeva bhasvara nivara shokavattanvi pita bhasya chanupama. This is beyond the science to understand. Apa santapayate samdeham apata talamastakaha. The spiritual fire into the physiology of the heart, from the purity of the essence, digested being absorbed, from the portal system to the liver, and everywhere in the microcapillaries, that cleanness of the rasa. 50% of that, it goes to the monthly care of the nesting babies and comes out as a waste, as a menstruation. Ayurveda understood how clean it should be, how easy to wash out it should be, the quality is being ascertained. So much is there to offer for the prenatal mothers, and we are all doing through the screening of the parents. In Europe, resorts, coastal side, couples will come and they join for the wonderful feast of the Ayurveda food being tasted. My wife cooks. And that is where the screening of the parents before they conceive, the quality of the essence of the progeny is bestowed by preventing all the dysfunctions and diseases. The primary health care of this gut selectivity into the brains to fixate through the epigenetics from the senses to program into the futuristic level of the healthcare. That is what our integrative protocols of the futuristic model for Ayurveda ancient wisdom into the current existing problems, what we find and see in the society. So that is where I'm working with the Tooting Pharmacy. I worked around with 50 pharmacies around in London. I worked in Cambridge Ayurveda Center. Way back from since 2001 onwards, we are working on this. I have submitted the dossier on the basis of the simple spices and the food as a medicine, how it can be benefited for the health. And that is where I got the immigration being granted under the highly skilled migrant program, ever on Ayurveda credentials to be emigrated into the United Kingdom. So you have to have a vision. This is for especially for the students. Understand the principles of us, our Swastavritta, our Sadvritta, that is what the mental health. Now you understand how much is being spent in United Kingdom on just only the mental health is equivalent to the entire health budget of Bharat nation. That is the biggest problem we are facing and challenges. And recently there was a meeting with the 50+ consultants Association, British Association of Physicians of Indian origin, with the Baroness Verma, Houses of Lords and Peers, and Virendra Sharma from Southall MP, and Harrow MP, Bob Blackman, and so many people were there to make the policy, understand integrative protocols, integrative medicine to define. 2 days of the debates went on. We are trying to bring this ancient wisdom and reduce the budget of National Health Services United Kingdom with the possible inclusiveness of the non-invasive protocols of the interventions. We already have 2-3 hospitals which are much pro for it, working on it. I've submitted the dossier to the Ayush Ministry. So that is where the support for bringing into the change for the society with the healthy habits inculcated. You understand the quality of the foods which are available in London, they come from all over the countries. Number one quality of the food, supplements and nutrition, vegetables, fruits, everything. But unfortunately, we don't know how to use them. That is where you can see the combinations of the funny Viruddha Aharas coming from the yogurt-based food and fruit drinks. And we are bringing awareness into the communities through the programs and campaigns, visiting the schools. I know the slides are not there, but we try to reach out even to the Department of Health. I wrote it down. And then the schools to get the permission for us to go and have a basic interviews for the children to understand lifestyle changes, how it can be. Simple questions like weekend times, when do they wake up? And school times, they wake up early in the morning. And the variations with their exposures to the unwanted mobiles or the radiations. So we are avoiding all these lifestyle changes being brought from the taste-based. The taste is coming through from the lace. For example, when I said the heart and rasa dhatu, what is that in Ayurveda? Amalaki and the pomegranate. These are the two fruits which comes out outrightly into the circulatory means of making food as a medicine for the children to be a tasty food. And we are deriving them and explaining them. We understand how lemons, green limes, when combined with the old jaggery in Ayurveda, which is a toddy jaggery, caryota urens, that candy, when it is saturated, the multicolored glasses experimented in Germany, exposed to the sunlight and make them to have a saturated liquid, simple green lime juice with the kitul jaggery, which comes out from Sri Lanka. Of course, it grows in India as well. Because it is ultimately the sugars which heal at the level of the cellular protection, and that should be the clean being absorbed into the assimilative point of growing the quality of the rasa dhatu. That is what Ayurveda Madhura Rasa means. The Madhura Rasa, the Amla Rasa, these are two rasas Ayurveda people know. And how do you quantify them? The selection of the quantification, Akashat Vayu Vayu Agnihi Anyoni Anupraveshitvat, and just to give Akasha 1 number, Vayu 2 numbers, Agni 3 numbers, Jala 4 numbers, Prithvi 5 numbers. And it is as well Madhuratama, Madhuratara, Madhura. And that gradations are being made for the quantification of the assessment. When you have the Prithvi 5 number and Jala 4 number, that's the 9 number will comes to the extensive potency of the Madhura. And then you can see A3 grades for the Madhuratama, A2 for the Madhura, Tara, and Madhura is A. So calculations are being made based on the taste. We know how taste threshold being done. Paramkush Rao, my teacher is sitting here, Dr. Chandola sir, and then my colleagues are over here from Jamnagar. And we have done the taste threshold, Paramkush Rao. And this is what the used simple methods of the taste threshold experimentations to understand the Madhuratama, Tara, and Madhura. And Madhura Amla, when it is combined, it is like a 9 plus 8. It comes. This is like a 5 Panchamaha Prithvi, and the 4 Apudhatu, 9, and then the next is the Amla, 8. So this comes as a Madhuramla Tara. These reasons why, because any plant maturity has to end up into the fruit maturity of the Madhuratama. And before it going to the Amla, that is Amlam Hrudyanam. And the affinity of this Amlatva into the cardiac protection to the healthy rasa formation. That's how the saliva start coming out when you taste the Madhura, Amla Rasa. So the selective process of the selective vegetables and fruits and the sources like Amla to the Tala Guda and as well as to the Dadima and confectionery preparations, very tasty for the children to be exposed into the Hrudya Dravya Prabhavatmaka Ahara Rasa Dravya Rupantaratvam. That is what the epigenetics, and we are working on it. And with the survey analytical studies, the children are being offered or advised through the parent care This is the social services we have taken up for the transformation of the gut health into the extent level of the practicality and the utility-based survey analytical studies. It is in the process. We are working with the Indian embassies as well. So there so much is happening. Due to the limitation of time, I think my time is over now. So I understand that this is just an eye-opening for the youngsters to think about how the principles of Ayurveda can be applied into the lifestyle medicine, nutritional medicine. I have already submitted that they are taking personalized medicine, gut medicine from our science. And they got the Nobel Prize for intermittent fasting. We know the value of the Chaturmasa, we know the value of Ekadasi, we know the value of the foods seasonally being given for the detox process, Panchakarma, to the level of the cleaning Rasadhatu, and that is where the Upavasa. But anyway, we are here to transform and bring this practicality into the nation for the oneness and one health and one nation, our beloved Honorable Prime Minister's vision and mission, and where we are working as a part of the little contribution from our associations in UK and Europe. Dhanyavad, Jai Ayurved, Jai Dhanvantare Namaha. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Joshi, for a very insightful presentation. And we always know and we always say, if food is not your medicine, medicine becomes your food. So we have to prevent the gut health. And in this journey, I would like to invite Dr. Dilip Ghosh, who's a PhD in biomedical science from India and postdoctorate from USDA ARS. And Dr. Ghosh has published more than 100 papers in peer-reviewed journals. He is an international speaker, a facilitator, an author, and professionally associated with NutriConnect Australia, Adjunct Industry Fellow, NICM Health Research Institute, Western Sydney University, and he's also a visiting professor, Kasturba Health Society, Medical Research Center, Mumbai, Jamia Hamdard University at Food Technology, New Delhi, India, and Tehran University of Medical Sciences, Iran. I call upon Dr. Dilip Ghosh, sir, for his presentation.
Good day, everyone. So today, I'm going to tell you, first disclosure, I am not an Ayurvedic practitioner. So that means I heard three last presentation. These are very high-level Ayurvedic principle. But I am from nutraceutical perspective, and I have been working some areas how to globalize Ayurveda and how to manage with the local compliance also in a global scenario. So let's go. Second disclaimer is, if I show any signs of particular company or any product, I have no financial connection with this company or product. This is just for science, just to give you some idea how it works. So I have been working with many books in last 7-8 years, and that published by the CRC Press, Taylor and Francis, and Academic Press also. Mostly on the nutraceutical area. If you are interested, so you can go through this book also. So, yeah, different areas. So today I will, this is in press also with Ministry of Ayush and All India Institute of Ayurveda on the integrative medicine model in the neurocognition. This one also in press, ashwagandha. As you know, globally ashwagandha is very, very in danger condition. So we have been working country-wise through scientifically and other ways also. So this will be a nearly 40 chapters book also. So because
although my background in the pharmaceutical industry, but I have been working for last maybe 15, 16 or 17 years in functional food and nutraceutical industry. So you know what is food: protein, carbohydrate, fat, sustained growth, functional food, which give you some additional benefit, health benefit also. But when it is come to the nutraceutical, the first time we are using the term so that prevent or cure the disease. And that should be in the dosage format, like the pharmaceutical product also. And very recently, the another category coming in the global market, that is called medical food. So that should be dispensed through the medical practitioners, and that has to be a very high level support also. The example like one Alzheimer product, one medical food company they developed, so that has very high level of EPA, purified EPA, for the, sorry, not for Alzheimer, but that product for the bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and high depression also. Because you cannot deliver that 92% pure EPA in a 1 gram capsule to the patient in normal way. So that means that medical food coming that way, so they develop the technology to enrich the EPA up to 92% and deliver to the patient. So fenugreek, that has every capability. We know we are using fenugreek as a spice or food for thousands of years. Fenugreek has capability in the functional food, nutraceutical, and as well as medical food. I will give you a few examples for your. So this is the book I published 1.5 years before, and this is not my word. I got very, very high level feedback, and that is also published by the CRC Press. That is the one of the most authentic recent book, and we show how the traditional knowledge we can convert it to the modern medicine. You all know about fenugreek. I am not going to repeat. Leguminous plant, India, Egypt, Middle Eastern, traditionally used as a flowering or culinary used. 4,000 years history of fenugreek. Abundantly available, generally recognized as safe, we call grass in USA. To launch any product in USA, that has to be a grass status. So that means mostly the toxicity and safety data. And daily consumption limit is 100 to 150 grams. So that is very, very high. So that means if we are using only 100 milligram of the fenugreek, so that is much, much below of the toxicity level. So I think this is who are in the industry, you can understand. You need a traceability of your product. So that means where it grows, how you harvest, how you process, and how you manufacture the product. So that is we call traceability. So that the raw material, we are using DNA barcoding. So that is absolutely necessary globally. Without this traceability, you cannot launch any product. That is in process manufacturing, HACCP should be there. And in global scenario, you know, in India, most of the Ayurvedic product manufactured in the Ayush GMP. In the Western world, even the WHO GMP not accepted. And Ayush GMP is the very, very basic. So that's why if we want to globalize, that's why the traditional Chinese medicine shining globally. I heard few lecture also here. So why we are not that level, TCM level? Because millions, billions dollars support from the government to set up all these things. So still, we are using the Ayush GMP also. So this is very important. And finished product, that has to be go through the rigorous clinical trial also. There is a lot of debate about the double-blinded placebo-controlled trial. So it is really, because the natural medicine is combination of the many things. So we cannot control everything in the double-blinded placebo control. But TCM has developed that model also, how to address this issue, and we have to embrace this also. Preclinical, safety, efficacy, safety, clinical level, and that market. And you know recently, the ashwagandha in the global market is very bad because of the safety toxicity issues. Although most of the arguments are invalid argument and I think not scientifically proved, but I also wrote many rebuttal letters in the different journals also, but simply, definitely we have to prove that ashwagandha not toxic, but these are some sort of anti-India propaganda around the world, because as you know, the TCM global market is decreasing, and there are a good lobby of the pharmaceutical and other also, and they are operating through the Europe also to malign Indian Ayurveda. And we can see Indian Ayurveda, that is the second soft power, global soft power after IT. And that's why they are not happy to India to reach that level also. So simply, as you know, the fenugreek has 4 main active components, that is amino acid, mostly the 4-hydroxyleucine, and that control the glucose control and anti-hyperglycemic, alkaloid, antioxidant and protective, glycoside, anti-inflammatory, and as you know, there are 2 or 3 glycoside components that has been in the market, global market, not in India. You can see for the free testosterone increase also. And fibers, muscle building, fat reducing, lactation, constipation. The company I am working with in India, it is an amazing success story. They have 101 publications only on fenugreek, and they have 88 international patent, 88 international patent only on fenugreek. It's a real commitment to the science also. So this is very simple thing, sugar control, that is the amino acid 4-hydroxyleucine. So the red color means double-blinded placebo-controlled trial already completed, both in India and also in USA and Australia also. So alkaloid, trigonelline, the 2 trials completed, one on the Parkinson disease, and we compared the prescription medicine also, and the organ protective also. Glycoside, testosterone booster, post-exercise recovery, that 2 clinical trial already completed, and the bone and joint health and anti-inflammatory to be done. Saponin, male libido, and testosterone booster, both are completed. A soluble fiber, mainly the galactomannan, body composition, lipid and fat metabolism, blood lipid management, that already completed. Insoluble fiber, digestive health, that prevent the constipation. So most of the area, we have done very high-level double-blinded placebo-controlled trial. And we published in the very high-impact journal also. And based on that, these are the, you can see, I'm not going through the individual trial also. You can see the reference of these all trials. So there are maybe, the clinical trial, maybe more than 50 in this area. So just for example, This product, we used one particular glycoside we called the product is andropic. In addition in India, with FSSI, we registered the product in TGA. As you know, TGA is one of the hardest and stringent regulatory bodies. So we got the Austral number for this product. And we also registered with Health Canada, not under traditional knowledge category. Because in Health Canada, natural product coming under two categories. One is the traditional knowledge based, and another is the modern medicine things. So we registered under this modern medicine. We also registered in Malaysia also. You know the Malaysia, the herbal medicine, that is one of the toughest in the world. Because we registered with TGA, so it was easy for us to register in Malaysia. So proven efficacy, safety in 2 independent human trial, and these are very good trial also, 150 plus population. Significantly increased free and bioavailable testosterone. You know, we have after 40, 45 testosterone level is decrease. Practically the free testosterone is decreased. We have a lot of testosterone, but it is in the bound condition. But for activity, we need free testosterone. And that fraction of fenugreek, they release the free testosterone from the bound testosterone. And that is not under WADA. That means if any athlete, they take this product, so he or she will not under any drug-induced performance, because it is no effect directly on the testosterone. It just releases the free testosterone. So that's the beauty of this product. And as I said, it's approved in TGA in Australia, Health Canada, and FSSI in India also. The study 1 is a single dose study in India. That is 600 milligram, 7 days washout type of things. And this was the 8-week study in USA. That's a fantastic result. You can see that bioavailable testosterone, total testosterone, and percents of body fat also. The beauty of this study also, it is not going beyond the physiological level of free testosterone. So that means there is a question. If it is surge very high, there will be a problem. So it is always in the physiological level, that free testosterone. Sugail, we launched in a couple of countries. It is not only fenugreek, but fenugreek is the main component. So this is for the sugar control, and that is the 4-hydroxyleucine also. So this is in the market of, including India, couple of countries also. And there are 2 studies also. You can see the study 1 and study 2. And these are the fantastic results. I am not going in detail. This is another product called Fenuflake. We recently launched in India and a couple of countries also. High fiber, low carbs, and high protein. So you cannot imagine, and that's why, you know, this problem for the gym goers, they are looking for high protein. And these are the natural high protein coming from the peas and couple of sources. But fenugreek is the alternative of this all high protein product. So we debitterized the fenugreek because it's a very bitter, and then increase the protein level also, and that is the around 30 to 35% protein content in this product also. So clinically proven, manage blood sugar level, lower glycemic index, and also improve the gut health. The only fiber in the market is the high protein, as I said, and it is not only high protein, but there are special type of protein or amino acid you can see in this product also. Enhance the nutrient profile of your food beverage and get a great health claims. So these are the trial outcome: significant improvement of glucose intolerance or variability, significant reduction of the fasting blood glucose, and significant reduction of the HbA1c also. These are the total outcome, clinical study, gut health. So thank you. I think I am within time. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your time-bound presentation. We all know this was a very apt talk because nutraceuticals is a fast emerging trend, the next big thing as we are heading towards the future, and the future of medicine is no medicine. So we have to bank on such things. I would like to invite Dr. Bhavna Prashar for the next talk. Dr. Bhavna Prashar is a well-known name in Ayurveda. She has pioneered the development of a new field of research, Ayurgenomics, at CSIR, IGIB. Her research integrates disciplines of Ayurveda, modern biology, computational methods, and genomics for developing a framework for understanding Ayurveda in modern scientific language and for development of integrative healthcare solutions. Welcome, Dr. Bhavna.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected chairs, Chandula sir, and the audience who has really patiently stayed back for this last talk, I believe. Second last talk, yes. So I would not go into too many details, but I just want, because I thought there will be a lot of students over here, and I want to give them a little bit of glimpse about the Ayurveda diagnostics. And because the theme of this WAC is digital health and Ayurveda perspective. So digital health largely has to do with the diagnostics, and therefore I thought of taking this topic of application of AI. All of you must have heard AI and ML quite a lot these days, and whether Ayurveda diagnostics has got any amenability to introduction of AI and ML for diagnostics. So I would like to take you through the presentation outline first, that what is the diagnostic space of Ayurveda, what are the, which means I'm largely talking about the Lakshana Skandha, and scope and methods for development of pattern algorithms, and whether what is a physician's role. Most important, the motivation behind choosing this topic before the young generation was that AI and ML is not going to come from anywhere outside. It is the physicians who will have to train the machines in a way that will facilitate their diagnostic process and hasten it. Nevertheless, it is going to be very challenging if we don't do it in a proper way. Then, whether if we were to do diagnostics, finally it has to also validate with respect to certain modern parameters, and how do we go about doing it, both for objective assessment of clinical patterns and then corresponding molecular and physiological patterns, which will actually explain the Ayurveda diagnostics in modern language and also facilitate the personalized application of therapeutics. So as we all know, our Ayurveda is three sutra Ayurveda, which has Hetu, Linga and Aushadha. And each of these three sutras are very, very important branches of science. But the connections between them actually are a major subject matter for translational medicine. In this, we can see that from may it be causes or Lakshana or Aushadha, everything is connected to Tridosha, and thereby we have a cause and effect axis in three ways. So unless we have the diagnostic axis going very well and clearly, there is no way we can practice Ayurveda medicine in a personalized way, because it is all connected. Diagnostics and therapeutics are very well connected. So, and why again I'm showing this triangle is that this diagnostics is not just on the basis of external factors, it is also talking about internal biological mechanisms which are explaining the genesis of these clinical features, and thereby if we capture the clinical features well, we can actually capture the internal derangements well, and thereby make a proper line of treatment to correct those derangements. So it is very, very important to have a proper diagnostic procedures in place. So, and our science also talks about Trisutra for healthy and disease, which means that it is not talking about the stringent definition of health or a stringent definition of disease. It very well incorporates and acknowledges the variability that exists around health as well as even in a disease condition. So where is the variability, scope for variability here? So as we all know, health is defined as a state of physical, mental, social well-being and not merely the absence of disease. Whereas Ayurveda describes the biological definition of health by describing the minimum variables or a minimum determinants that will be required to remain healthy. And on one hand, Sushruta talks about biological, most of the times biological definition of health, whereas Charaka describes actual parameters which will define health in terms of complexion, build, nourishment, hunger, taste. But they're never saying that this much hunger or this much height or this much, they're talking about and Prakriti levels, okay? So there is a lot of scope for variability that they are incorporating. So how does this variability arise? So Tridosha contribute to this variability because each system has Tridosha, and Tridosha, if they are presented in a different proportions, who are functioning in a particular direction, we all know about the Vat, Pitta, Kapha functions, mainly transport signaling to Vat, and metabolism to Pitta, storage, stability, strength to Kapha. If these were to be overperforming in a particular proportion of the body constitution, they can give rise to corresponding features. So this is what is our Hetu to Linga axis, and this begins right from the time of birth. So these features, if they were to be analyzed, and most importantly, features are the features. They are exactly the same as even the modern medicine would look at, like height, weight, appetite, hunger, okay. So skin, obesity, all these things are the same features that are described even for the modern medicine. But what is different in Ayurveda is that we have a way to cluster them. We have clustered them into certain groups to be able to say that these are all Vat features, these are all Pitta features, these are all Kapha features. If they are overtly present in an individual, then you classify them as Vat Prakriti or Pitta Prakriti or Kapha Prakriti or the combination Prakritis. So, and then this is about the variability in health. We also have a description regarding the variability in the disease conditions. And how is this disease condition variability studied? You know, diagnostic space of Ayurveda extends from healthy state to disease state. In healthy, as I said, Prakriti and Prakriti dosha patterns reflecting on Sanghanan, Praman, Dhatu Sarata, Vyayam Shakti, which is like a basic mental and physical makeup, plus nutritional, metabolic and immune status, as well as psychological makeup. So this is about the health variability. But it also talks about, diagnostic space is about even the transition stages. And these transition stages are not only at the internal biological, pathological mechanisms, even in the transition phase, they have given externally manifested phenotypes, which are like doshic patterns reflecting Agni Vaishamya or Ama or Ajirana. So these are not exactly diseases, they are pathological patterns which are going to be giving rise to certain diseases if they are not taken care of in time. So there is a transition phenotype, then there is a Vikriti phenotype. So a particular combination of this Dosh Vaishamya and Dusha Vaishamya and Dosh Dusha Sammochana will give rise to Vikriti. Again, for a characteristic combination of dosha and dusha features, it will be called as certain disease. However, even within that disease, there is likely to be a lot of variability, either because of the baseline Prakriti of an individual or because the way disease has emerged, the way it has been triggered, and the way it is manifesting itself. So I'm just giving about how we evolve from understanding health to understanding disease and the transition stages, and at each point there are diagnostic patterns described. Again, the terms that I'm using over here, they are not one single feature. They are the combination of features giving rise to a pattern. So, and this pattern tells about the overall description about an individual's bal as well as dosh. Nowhere in the modern medicine we actually evaluate the bull of a person. We always evaluate how much is the disease, what is the extent of perturbation, how much is the severity. But alongside what is the natural bull of that person, this is the salient part that Ayurveda describes. So this is just so far only the diagnostic space of Ayurveda, and based on this we are selecting the drugs. That is the personalized aspect. Now, as I said, feature space. Now, in the feature space, what we will have is we will capture the data. So that there is mode of capture, maybe darshan, sparshan, prashna, and subsequently other indriya also. Then there is a actual feature which will get captured through that mode of capture, and the real values. So, for example, varna is the thing that will be captured through darshana, but varna is again a feature category. Then varna will have certain actual values that, okay, Gaura varna, Shyama varna, or that way. So likewise, if one were to break these things down, because if you were to apply computational methods and apply machine learning, we have to make this kind of a structure. For that, and this is not something we are doing ourselves in this era new. Ayurveda itself describes like this, that this is the pariksha bhava, this is the pariksha, this is pariksha bhava, and this is how you examine. And combination of these features gives rise to the algorithm, patterns, and the patterns can be developed into algorithms. For example, jirnahara lakshana. If somebody, we are saying jirna, then jirna, there's only one word, there's jirnahar. But one word has so many features to be actually ensured before we say the ahara is jirna. Like utsa, udgara shuddhi, utsaha, vegotsarga, shuddha, pipasa. So a combination of features tells us that this is Jirinahar stage. A combination of features tells us that this is Ama stage. So, and that's where there is a patterning scope for patterning. So, and this is what has been, as I said, we are not de novo discovering or making a structure. Ayurveda itself describes a structure. In Nidanasthana, it describes all the disease features. But again in Vimansthana, it says that now you have to examine them in a individual to identify the dosha bala pramana and sharir bala pramana of the individual. So everywhere they are saying in the clinical methods of examination, everywhere they are saying the same thing. Now I am giving you one example of our study on Prakriti, where we, if we were to develop an algorithm or understand the Prakriti, whatever has been described in Ayurveda, we actually make it into a structured format, in the sense that this is a guna leading to particular lakshana, and that lakshana has to be captured in the format that a clinical examination format, which happens general examination, systemic examination, history taking, like that. So it's a format. So after this format, so it's in a way giving us a guna level description, giving rise to features, and combination of features giving rise to patterns. So this is what we have shown here. I'm in one of the Prakriti papers, that it is like skin. Then skin may you have texture, you have appearance, you have type, thick or thin. In the appearance you have clear or not clear, maybe having pimples. In the texture you may have smooth, loose, wrinkled, like that. So there are feature categories, then feature classes, and then actual feature values. And a combination of certain features will tell that this is a Pitta Prakriti or Kapha Prakriti or Vata Prakriti. Or for that combination you assign that particular number. So Prakriti ascertainment is based on a combinatorial occurrence of phenotypic features that are captured through questionnaire. Now, if we were to do a machine learning based algorithm, so what we did is that we identified normal healthy individuals of a certain age group in a particular ethnicity, in particular geographical location. So all the other variables are kept as minimal as possible, and identify normal healthy individuals of extreme Prakriti out of the 7, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Then we gave the data to the computer and we identify, okay, if there is a, naturally also there are clusters forming out of this data. So as you can see, there are, the shapes are the natural clusters formed by unsupervised clustering. And when we overlay it on our labels of Vata, Pitta and Kapha, there's a 94% concordance. What I mean to say is that the labels have to be to train the machine also, supervised learning, the labels have to be given by physicians. So in the development of the machine learning algorithm, the large role is that of the physicians. Then we also performed subsequent machine learning, supervised machine learning. That was an unsupervised approach. This is a supervised approach where we organize features and the prakriti, and we take only 90% of the data for learning, and 10% we mask and develop a predictive model. And once that model is developed, the data, 10% data that has never been introduced in the model, whether it is correctly predicting the data or not, is what we do. So this is the machine learning algorithm for Prakriti prediction. And in that, there are 3 different models that we have published. And so now this is regarding one cohort. For example, in the Western Indian cohort, we developed this model. Then whether the same model will be applicable for the other population, because Vat, Pitta, Kapha, Prakriti, we can see across populations, irrespective of the geographical location, because we have certain things set in our mind that when we see these features, we call them as Vat. When we see the other kinds of features, we call them as Pitta. And that is across. Even if we see people from abroad, we can actually broadly classify them into Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. So we had also performed for 2 different cohorts and validated the model developed on the other cohort. So this tells that the important features that it takes and the weights that it assigns, it is able to predict the Prakriti very well for the data that has not gone into the training. So similarly, we have also developed extreme versus non-extreme Prakriti. So in the interest of time, I'll just go through the process, reiterate the process, that for developing such machine learning algorithms for identification of diagnostic patterns, what goes into it is the development of questionnaire based on original text, selection of volunteers and collection of data with details, establishment of uniformity in data collection methods, labeling by physicians, unsupervised clustering to see whether there is really a structure in the data. Say, for example, Am versus Niram, or Jirna versus Ajirna, or some such data. If you want to develop a pattern, you will have to have 2 kinds of variables. Data should have both kind of people, and this should be able to differentiate between whether it is Am or it is Niram, or something, maybe it is Vat Vruddhi or it is Kapha Vruddhi in the pathological states. So this is all about ki, based on Ayurvedic literature, our own methods of diagnostics, data collection and analysis and labeling can enable us to develop algorithms. However, if we were to use that algorithm later on, for example, Prakriti algorithm has been developed, those features have been identified, but each time also when we use that, the collection of, or the clinical assessment of that feature is again a physician's responsibility. It is only when the features are fed into the software, it is able to tell, okay, this is this type of diagnosis. So again, a physician's role can never be undermined, and there is only provision of a fast analysis and uniform analysis from the uniform data input. So that is one part. Now, another part that I also mentioned about the validation. So Prakriti is known to us, Vat, Pitta, Kapha, we understand, but if we were to explain that, when you say somebody is Vat, or when you say somebody is Pitta or Kapha, what difference does that have? Whether it can be also explained using some objective parameters. So in this, there are 2 methods that we have adopted from the physiological point. So from the physiological point of view, whether different Prakriti individuals on a clinical parameters of structure, function, metabolic activities, physical activities, we are able to differentiate. But whether that is also visible in the patterns of physiology that we are seeing in terms of respiratory physiology or cardiovascular physiology or autonomic functions. So that is the next level of thing. So once this gets established with the other parameters also, then it all the more says that the process of doing Prakriti that has got validated, it actually has a significance both from the objective parameter from the modern medicine point of view. So these are I'm not going to get into the details. If you are interested, you can read some of the papers where we have published this kind of a work that we are doing. And even in the molecular level, what does it mean? Whether it has a different kind of, as Chandola sir was mentioning about acetylcholine, catecholamine, and histamine. So do we go even further to look at the whole genome-wide expression profile differences or genome-wide genetic differences underlying Prakriti, and whether those genetic differences are just any random genetic differences, or these differences have got any meaning in terms of whether it is causing any disease susceptibility or drug response differences. Because Prakriti, why we are studying, is because the premise is that extreme Prakriti individuals are more susceptible to adverse environmental responses, and maybe they have a differential drug response or differential requirements of drugs even when they are falling sick. Not only drugs, even for the maintenance of health regime, they may be requiring a slightly different kind of a intervention. So these are the kind of things. So using this approach, we have developed for each of the questionnaire parameters such as Akriti, so physical structure related parameters, there are several anthropometric instruments. For skin biophysical parameters such as dryness, smoothness, transepidermal water loss or moisture content can be measured. So that another one is regarding the physiological parameters. Again, for we are measuring the heart rate variability, autonomic function test through heart rate variability, and justometer and many other parameters. So this will only tell, but now with the advent of wearable devices and many other things, so we can take a continuous data to identify patterns, not just a static data, one time at the time of examination. So these are the new things that we can do, and we have been following this in our Ayurgenomics cohort. And so in summary, we are saying that the patterns, diagnostic patterns to be coupled with the therapeutic interventions, we have different methods described. One of the methods that I am describing here is that of a variability in healthy individuals. Whether that can also provide differences in the molecular parameters, and whether those molecular parameters can also have significance in terms of variability in environmental responsiveness or variability in disease manifestations. So this is just a summary of the kind of work that we do, in the sense that we have done different populations in Trisutra Ayurgenomics Consortium, look at the Prakriti, stratify them on the basis of machine learning algorithms that we developed, and then look at their molecular level differences, cellular level differences, physiological level differences, not only at the baseline, but also in response to stress, such as in response to orthostatic stress, if the heart rate variability differs. In response, we have also developed the cellular models. So the findings that we get, I'm not going to present the findings here, the findings that we get, that things that differ between Vata, Pitta and Kapha and their biological significance, it matches back to what is described for Vata, such as transport, cell division, which is more known for Vata function, and we find Vata individuals to be having higher cell proliferation rate, higher cell division rates. Similarly, for Pitta, we also find more genotypes related to bleeding, and in Kapha more related to thrombosis. So it's a process of validation is not going to get limited up to the questionnaire level, but it also goes beyond that to tell that the Vata-Pitta-Kapha differences that we find through a clinical analysis also map back to the molecular differences which describe back the Vata-Pitta-Kapha functions as are described in Ayurveda. So this is not only going to provide the validation, but this also has provided us novel predictive marker discovery, and that tells about the whole process being very, very internally, the descriptions of Ayurveda being quite this one. So now, having developed that machine learning algorithm, now what we do is examinal traits that are there in text, they are there in the questionnaire, they are examined through clinical methods as well as history-taking format for capturing, fed into the software of machine learning algorithm, then you get the Prakriti card and accordingly lifestyle recommendations. So recently also, some of you might have heard about this, the Desh Ka Prakriti Parikshan Abhiyan. This also incorporates this questionnaire and algorithms. And with this, I would like to thank you all. And first, I'll also like to show the collaborative network of our Ayurgenomics. And Dr. Anup Thakur is one of the main collaborators in our Ayurgenomics Trisutra Consortium. And we have a large interdisciplinary team even at IGIB and across different educational institutes. Some of the people are also here in the audience, like AIMS, as well as All India Institute of Ayurveda, IPGTNRA Jamnagar. And I would like to acknowledge all of that and the interdisciplinary team. And these are our fundings. We also run a PhD course in Ayurgenomics, and so ACSI registers for those students. And with that, I thank you all for your kind attention. And thanks, special thanks to organizers for allowing this different topic on the...
Thank you, Dr. Bhavna, and thank you for adhering to the time frame and giving the House an overview of Prakriti in a very new perspective, along with brushing up the basics. Next, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Susana Urrutia from Chile, South America. She's got her MD degree as an allopathic doctor at University of Chile, and she has worked for several years at University Children's Hospital in Santiago. She began her Ayurveda training course in 1993 at Maharishi University in US, and followed by Maharishi European Research University in 1999. She has now her own clinic as integrative medicine with Ayurveda in Santiago, Chile. She has done several workshops of quality of life with Ayurveda for health professionals around Chile and in South America. Welcome, Dr. Susana. And she'll be talking about an integrative allopathic and Ayurveda treatment in the management of Parkinson's disease. Welcome. A big round of applause for her. She would be last speaker of the day. You were supposed to be the first, actually.
It's going to be so short. It's going to be... Good afternoon to everybody. I'm so grateful to be here and also to give my special thanks to all the organization of World Ayurveda Congress to invite me to present what has been my route in Ayurveda in my country. So firstly, I really love to share with you what has been my following route with Ayurveda, being allopathic medicine. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, let me explain you firstly where is Chile. Here in India, nobody knows where is my small country. So next, please. Chile is a small country. Oh, with this one. Okay, thank you. Chile is in the extreme south of America continent. We're very long, we're very long and very narrow, 18 million thousand people. So it is so important to let you know how has been my route being allopathic doctor with the structure that the university gave us to follow just a model that has, I think, 300 years. I began with Hippocrates. So, what I learned when I got my degree as allopathic medicine, I understood that health is right of the human being. When I began to study Ayurveda medicine, I also understood the same. But I also understood that medicine, health, is not a business. So the focus has been to create a bridge between Ayurveda, India, and Chile for human health. So I began to learn Ayurveda when I was finished my specialized in pediatric fields. I was so stressed, I need something to remove the stress. I used to work at the emergency room in an Ayurveda, in a hospital, in a conventional hospital, University for Children. So the first step was, when I began to learn Ayurveda, was to open the mind. That sounds just surprising for me. But I understood if I don't open my mind, nothing is going to happen with Ayurveda. So I also understood that I have to be in balance in my physiology and also in my mind to see the patient in balance and not with the stress. Doctors and healer has to be in balance just to give the best for their patients. How to do that? Simple and difficult. Here you have the knowledge. Patanjali gave to India the 8th branch of yoga. So I introduced myself as a routine 30 years back, asanas, pranayama, meditation. That was really my beginning to understand Ayurveda. You know all of things. You are the best in these things. We are almost nothing. So it was a before and after in my life. After 1 year practicing the Patanjali knowledge, I was so different, and I could understand how to digest Ayurveda, a different model to approach to health. So, second point important, it was how to educate patients, not giving only 10 or 15 minutes of a system, just almost 1 hour to see what about their lives, to see not only how is his body, just only to let them know how they think, how their emotional level, how their environment. So many things. And to try to begin to let them know that there is another approach of model of health beside our allopathic medicine. Third point, just to understand that we are not a lung separated of the cardiovascular system, osteomuscular system, etc. Our allopathic model see fragmentary in our physiology. Sorry, it is in Spanish. But Ayurveda medicine gives us a different model because Ayurveda goes deeper in the physiology, deeper in the mind, and join the mind and the physiology as a whole. So, what I have done in these 30 years is just to magnify my approach. It's not just to say, or I am allopathic or I am Ayurvedic. No. It's just to increase the view of allopathic medicine with Ayurveda medicine, both together. Third point important is Ayurveda is for all the people who wants to change his lifestyle of life, to maintain their health, not maintain the disease. Fourth point important was to begin to give lectures about this model of Ayurveda to all people, independent of their religions, independent of their cultures, independent of their political party, etc. Ayurveda is for all people. 5 points important is integrate the Ayurveda approach to allopathic health students. If they began to study medicine or any other professional health from the beginning, they will include this holistic approach in their studies. It is so difficult for allopathic doctors to change, to understand that physiology is more than to see a heart along a lung. How to teach the patients that there is 3 biological principles that govern, direct all our physiology and mind. I'm not going to continue talking about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You have listened very good speaker that let us know. What about all of this? But it's really difficult that people, Western people, that has a structure in their mind, a different logic that Ayurveda medicine. So this is a process like happened to me. I couldn't understand Ayurveda for 1 month to another. It was gradually to understand this model of health. So, 6th point that I think is so important for Western people is to give Ayurveda knowledge from their essence. Not change, nothing. You have very profound texts like Charak Samhita, Susut Samhita, Ashtangarinam, etc. So we have to maintain that knowledge, not to change. In Western, nobody knows about Ayurveda. Doctors in Western were, I don't know if now, were as God. So if you say the patient just do this, patient is going to do that. If we say anything about Ayurveda, they are going to follow. So we have to respect this knowledge, the pure knowledge. What I have done in the 18 years, in the following 18 years ago, I have two mentors here in India. Dr. Gigi Gangadharan, Dr. Giri Yakumari, who works in Bangalore. And they give me all of this pure knowledge to let me understand what about doshas, sub-doshas, dhatus, what about prakriti, pikiti, agni, oyas, ama. It is so difficult to diffuse this concept in Western. So we are looking now to design an Ayurveda training for the students and allopathic professional health with Vadyacharya. Many Vadyacharya has put in my life here in India. Then I was talking with them just to, they give the Ayurveda knowledge in my country. You have the knowledge. You grow here in India with this knowledge. So we have to learn a lot from you. So I can help, obviously, and I have done to diffuse Ayurveda in my patients and to give prescription also. But the knowledge is here. It's not in Western. So just I'm going to tell you just 2 or 3 points. What about the last research or oral abstract that was submitted here in this Congress? I have presented several other oral abstracts in other Congress. Just I'm not going to talk all about this research, just only to let you know what I have done with my patient in Chile. This is about 3 patients with Parkinson's disease. They were in their beginning with symptoms and signs. So very, very light Parkinson's disease. What happened with them? All of them have received allopathy drugs. What they want to do? They want to have good style of life. They want to reduce their allopathy drugs because they know that all collateral side effects they produce. So, what I suggested them, just very simple things, apparently. But in South America, in Western, we don't have any routine of nothing like Ayurveda promised to us. But if patients want to have good quality of life, they are the main actors in their health. I give the tools. I always say to my patients, I give the tools, but you are the main actors that you have to work with this tool. Anyway, you will not have any improvement. So, patients receive pranayamas different, just to quiet mind, depending on their conditions, Nadichodhana, Brahmari, etc. What other things? Dinacharya. Just only one thing. Try to get lunch in a good time. Good time? That means 11 to 1:30. Food program. Nothing strict. Because we are going to give prohibited things and avoid things and prefer these things, nobody going to follow. We don't have this routine. So only to give just a specific instruction about what is the meaning of his disease and what is food going to produce in their deeper physiology and deeper mind. So all of them receive a pacifying diet, but very simple. And some kachaya. How to prepare a kachaya. It is so difficult to import Ayurveda medicine in all South America. What I do is to import some churnas. I don't have a churna store. Just solely I import for my patients. So they receive the necessary knowledge how to prepare in their home their kachaya. Just boil it or reducing, etc. But they have to follow as routine. All of them receive kapikachu. It is very known in Ayurveda. That's very good for Parkinson's disease. And other churnas. And also, I suggested manual therapies. Abhyangas and Udvartana. 5 days, 5 following days, each 3 months, 2 cycles. So we use transcranial ultrasonography. It's not an invasive method. It's not a CT scan or any other method that we use in allopathic medicine. And this exam is so interesting because let us know how is the nigra substance. Then we can correlate what about the clinical symptoms and the evidence with this method. And the 3 patients has really very respond in this one. So it was almost nothing. They were beginning in their disease. So what happened? All patients really improved. Signs and symptoms. Just 6 months later, they didn't have any signs and symptoms. So the conclusion is what you are reading. We can use in Parkinson the integration between Ayurveda and allopathic medicine and prove they were successfully. So other chronic disease may also benefit from integrative Ayurveda medicine. So thanks a lot for listening to me, and I appreciate your time. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Susanna, for endorsing Ayurveda to the other part of the world and taking it forward. Thanks to you. Thank you. Please stay on. Please stay on, Dr. Susanna. Please stay on. I would like to call upon the chairs to do the honors for our speakers. Please. A token of gratitude, appreciation, and respect from World Ayurveda Congress. Please get the... Next, I would request Dr. Dilip Ghosh to be ready. Dr. Dilip Ghosh, Dr. Bhavana Parashar, Professor H.M. Chandula, sir. Please stay on for a group photograph. Please be seated, sir. Venkatanarayan Joshi, sir. Is he there? His left? Okay. Professor Alex. Professor Alex Henke, I think he's left. He's not there. Okay. Yeah. दिल्ली में सब कुछ मिलता है, सब स्टेट का सब मिलता है। कुछ आवाज में गाओ। नहीं
कुछ तो नंबर है नहीं, पर कहीं तो खोजेंगे नहीं। मैंने
कहीं रखा होगा,
जहाँ गया था मैं वहाँ तो देखा है, वहीं नहीं मिला। किसी गुड
आपने ये हैंडल किया तो इतना सुकून है ना मुझे।
मैं उसको कहा कि मेरी तरफ से स्पेशल पार्टी अभी तुरंत उत्तराखंड में निपटा दूंगा। दिल्ली तक
मैंने वो फाइल कल ही बना के रखी है, कल की भी बना दी।
और आप इनसे
अरे नहीं यार, ये तो
ये दिल्ली में भी वसूल सकती है। नहीं, ये दिल्ली में भी वसूल सकती है।